From coaches to casuals, grassroots to the league, this is Open Gyms. I'm Coach Q.
Coach T, who I be.
Here, come here. Coach, what did I do? Timmy, listen, you're 5'8", okay? You are the tallest player on our team. So I do not want you to be a guard. I need you to be who you really are, and that's power forward center, okay? Got it, Coach. Yep. Keep it up. Yo, push the ball, Brandon. What are you doing? Coach said I can't dribble. Oh, yeah. Why? You were wide open. Shoot it. Coach said no shooting. Yeah, set the screen, Timmy. Set it. Pick. Set it. How are you? How can I help? Hey, Coach, I would really love to play for your program, and I think I can bring a lot of value to the team. So I think you should recruit me. Okay, and how tall are you? I'm about like 6'1", Coach. And I'm assuming you're like a point guard or... Oh, I'm mainly like power forward center. But do you know how to play those positions? Like, dribbling and shooting? Not really. Okay, well, look, the best I can do is team manager.
All right, Trey, you had a conversation that you wanted to get to that kind of dealt a little bit with that, where not teaching or making sure that we teach all players guard skills. What's your thoughts on the main? Let's hop into it.
Man, you see that all the time, man. Like, I can't count how many games I've coached where just because the kid is the tallest player on the floor, you feel like you should put him at the 5. And then I remember a game in particular just with me coaching. And I got a kid, let's, just go back a little bit. I got a kid that played for me last year, 2029, Braylon Armstrong. He's going to be one of those kids I think that the city will know in a couple years, but he's at 7th grade. He's 6'3", great height and length. But yeah. And I tell him all the time when I'm getting on, fussing on him in practice, I'm like, Braylon, you are the guy that passes the eye test. Like if somebody walk in, they're going to look at you first. They're not looking at everybody else. They're like, man, who is that big ass kid right there? So I always tell him, like, you're going to have everything. So what I have Braylon, I run Braylon at the 4. But what I get him used to is, trailing the play. He'll set a screen. He'll roll. He got that. But then he actually initiates the nail action that we run from, Kyler Perry's dribble drive offense too. So he'll actually get downhill and have to make a decision from the perimeter. Now, when I first started showing him this, when I got back involved with him, because he played with me at my program Halo, and then he left and he went to Team Charlotte, and then from Team Charlotte, they made the transition to play with Up Next, which I was at Up Next coaching. They seen me at the tryout and it was like, man, we ain't seen you well, but we glad to see that you one of the guys, involved with it. So I'm like, yes, sir. But I told him I have a plan for him. Like, I think he's going to be 6'6", 6'7". I tell his dad all the time, he's going to know how to play inside and out. You know what I'm saying? And watching that meme, I think coaches, at the high school level and middle school level kind of hurt kids because they see size and they just throw them in the post. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man, you got to rebound. No, I tell Braylon, you're going to do so much more. You're going to defend the ball. That's the biggest thing I get at him at right now. He moves his feet, but he like to reach a lot. So now I'm trying to get him to understand the art of containing the basketball and, staying in front of the ball and being big and being long, using your length, and I'm like, you're going to be more than just a rebounder, box out and drop step, but he can give me that. When I see a mismatch, I throw him down in there. Hey, Braylon, go get that. He's small, go get that. Then I can say, hey, Braylon, come out, initiate the offense, run this nail action. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm building a hybrid player, and I see, a lot of coaches have kids as potentially hybrid players, but they're going about it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that I'm better than anybody else, but when you see a kid with size, the league is changing. LaMelo Ball, who we talk about a lot, is 6'6", 6'7", and he is snaking screens. He's not posting nobody up. So
Luka the same.
Yep, Luka running off the pick and roll. So
if you really want to take it back, they ran Giannis at the PG for like 3 years.
Right.
If you remember that.
Yeah.
And I guess I would say, speaking directly to the meme, it's rare that you see those kids that get put inside that box actually make it out of that box.
Right.
Like seeing a lot of kids from like literally second grade all the way through high school, you do end up seeing some kids that got put inside, all right, you're going to be a big. You're going to be a 5. You're going to learn the drop step. And at that time, they were the tallest one, maybe about 3-4 inches. Especially if you say like elementary school. Then middle school come, they kind of like end up being middle of the pack.
Right. Yeah.
And then high school come, they just a guard.
They blend in.
They kind of end up being like small guards to an extent. They might be like a little more stockier, but they end up being small guards. And these same players end up having to play catch up when it comes to skill set. And yeah, like I said, it's rare that I've seen it actually work out. One time I will say that I have seen it work out. And when it does work out, I think that it works out beautifully because those guards end up being comfortable. Where Taurus.
I was going to say that.
Taurus is an example where he played in the post for a while. And he got with who he got with in his transition to high school. He became a guard. Right. And he's only been a guard since then. And because of that, he's a slasher that don't mind contact. He'll go and get all the dirty points, but he's developed his guard skills so much to where he's like a real legit threat both ways. Like he'll run through, you know what I mean, the paint and not mind the contact, but then can get you a skillful bucket out on the outside. Right. Another kid that I coached that I tried to get him out of that box as soon as I could was AC. Where with AC, he started off in the post, but I could already see that he was going to have some skill set. And
I'm going to tell you something, Q. I ain't mean to cut you off, but you used to tell us that. You used to tell us that all the time, and you'd be like, I'm going to let AC run the point. And in games that we wanted to win, I'm like, Q, like we got Colin and your son and, you know what I'm saying, Tony, like, he was like, no, but don't nobody take the ball from AC. So I do remember, I remember that. Shout out AC. He had West Charlotte, point guard at West Charlotte. But I didn't mean to chime in, but I had to give you some flowers on that because you did see that. No,
I appreciate it. And yeah, so I know for me, that was something that I tried to eventually get away from, especially just kind of watching how the game was evolving. Where the bigs that I ended up having, I tried to put the ball inside their hand a little bit more as they kind of got older and older, just because you like I said, you kind of see where a lot of these kids, if you don't put that ball into their hand, especially if they make it out of middle school without actually developing it, it's tough for them in high school making that transition. Like you got to be a special player to actually be able to make that transition that late when it comes down to building the guard skill set. Yeah, like I said, that'll kind of be my take on it.
Yeah, I'll tell you another kid too, T-Sean. You remember in those early years with the Stars and CP3, he was considered that big because he was the biggest kid on the floor. But one thing I will say Rod did was he actually let him handle the ball too. So now you seeing it, man. I heard he had Cox Mills like averaging like 18, 20 points a game because he actually has guard skills now. And how big is he now, would you say?
Last time I said, I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", somewhere in that range.
So 6'4", 6'5" guard. And that's where he gonna get his looks at the guard. Obviously he can defend. But shout out to the coaches like Q, Rod, me, myself, that put the ball in these kids' hands. Coaches, AAU level, you are the most important, especially at the middle school ages. You are the most important guys coming up for these kids to go to high school and then if possibly college. You have to let these kids make their mistakes and handle the basketball. Don't just shove them in the post. Don't just shove these guys in the post, man. Let them handle the ball, man.
And I guess that kind of goes to another question that kind of piggybacks off that, where player development versus winning. I think that this concept in itself kind of sits within that, where a lot of player development can come, unfortunately, at the cost of winning that specific game. And it ends up being, kind of like a seesaw of at what point is it important? What's your take on it? Player development versus winning.
Okay. I would say, again, we had a conversation on one of our episodes where we was just talking about programs. And I think that kind of ties into that too. But I'm big on player development. And I think if you have these kids at it's starting at elementary now. Kids are playing in high-level tournaments in third grade. But if you that coach is third grade up to eighth grade, you should be focused on the development of the player. Development of the player. And I don't care what you playing in. You could still be out there playing the made hoops. You could or Adidas scene or a Puma. You still need to be making sure that each kid is getting whatever, that they could potentially be, whether it's handling the ball and being a savvy ball handler, a playmaker, a shot creator. Don't just shove these kids in a box. So I'm big on the player development side, Q. The wins will come. I used to tell my guys all the time, if you do the right things early on in a year and work on the stuff that you're not good at, and you see, that your kids need to know how to make left-hand layups, dribble up the court with the left hand, even make a pass, a push pass, not a chest pass or overhead pass, but a push pass with the left hand. At the end of the day, you're going to start to win. And every season that I, conducted with Halo Elite, bro, we won. We start winning at the end of the year and get notable wins. So, the development side to me is most important.
And I guess what I'd say is that where it becomes difficult is when you get on teams that are looked at being quote unquote elite. And like from a coach's perspective, it ends up being so much, especially if you start doing the traveling, you're going to Alabama, you're going to Philly, you're going to wherever. When you playing at Carolina courts every week, like it's okay. Like you can win and you can lose some and play a development. But then there's a space where shout out Team Bond. When you go out to Winston-Salem, you go out to Greensboro for that one day. Like it'd be cool. Yeah. But then there's like a stage, and sometimes maybe it starts too early. Yeah. Where we're putting like the elite tag on it, to where even on the coach's side, the pressure to win almost usurps the need to develop talent. Yeah. And it's so interesting where you think about like this second, third, fourth, fifth grade elite teams. Yeah. Well, like these are second, third, fourth, fifth grade players in which like it's so much development that actually still needs to get done with them. And I think that ends up being like the interesting balance where I think the pressure to win, especially if you're with like a quote unquote reputable organization, sometimes the pressure to win, it oversteps player development. And even that, in my opinion, ends up being when you branch it out long term, and then you look at these grassroots teams and the players that was on the team, like let's say elementary and then middle school, and then when it gets to the circuit, end up being a different group. But it's because of really it was the team that they put together at that moment was just to win at that moment. And they just kept redoing that over like, players or the team's development through grassroots. But it wasn't actual player development. That's why you'll only see one or two kids that actually stay. Everything else is like grabbing win-now pieces. Let's get this big that's 6 foot in the fifth grade and just teach them a drop step. And that's going to last us 2 years. And then we'll redo that again. And it doesn't actually develop the player. That player ends up playing like we ain't got to go down that line. But so that'd be like I said, my caveat to it. I think that the pressure of programs often oversteps even, what the coach is able to do. And then don't put the parents in there too. Oh, man. Don't get smacked by 30. And look, them parents ready to leave.
And then you forgot to mention the key component, the money. They paying fees. They paying fees. So they want to win, but then at the same time, they want their kid to develop. So, but all in all, with what you're saying, I think even if you're at the level of, if you're competing and going to Texas or going to New Jersey, either don't involve the kids that ain't ready. Sometimes they will. Don't involve them. Put them on a B team where you might have a coach like me that's coaching the B team that love development. You get what I'm saying? And you know that, okay, at least Coach Chi is going to develop the kid. And then, maybe next year he'll be ready for me. Go get the kids as kind of like as close as possible to the winning now. Don't overlook the player development.
This then becomes the tough part of like these elite teams.
Yeah.
Where it's two things. You got the overzealous parent.
Yeah. Right.
Where the kid might not be there, but they want them inside them IG pictures.
Right.
Where they holding that trophy up.
And got the cameras out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that kid might only play again if they winning by 30.
Right. Right.
And then it's usually the people on the backside of the bench that's making sure that everything actually gets done.
Right.
Because those are the ones that's really going to pay.
Yep.
And that's where now it becomes like its own little system.
Yeah.
Where in general, you just got to kind of be careful. And this is where, as a parent, you got to understand, what are you actually looking to get out at this moment for your kid? Is it just like the IG picture, hold up a trophy thing?
Right.
Is it development? Is your ego going to get bruised because your kid's on the B team?
Right. Right.
Do you just want him to take those pictures so that you could be like,
Preach.
hey, look all my Facebook friends.
Preach.
Like, my kid won a championship.
Right.
And then, the highlight tape be the layup line. But that's a different story.
and maybe too in game, you know what I mean? But nah, Q, you hit it right on the head, man. I think, we got to be mindful that these kids are developing.
Yeah.
And the younger years of them, coaches should be focused on the whole development of it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like you said, if you going to Texas, you going to New Jersey. I used to have this talk with who went to Tennessee. I told you on that last episode. I told them we had a whole, meeting about that, because I knew I seen it before. I was a program director, so I wanted to kill it before it even happened. But I would tell them, hey, look, we're going to Tennessee. It's going to be competitive. Every kid might not play. In the games that we are blowing the team out, if we get one of those games, your kid will play. But if we're in a game where, it's neck and neck, or we down by 5 the whole game, your kid might not play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I get it, coaches.
And shout out to the coaches that actually have that conversation. I think that's like the important part, is giving the parent, at least giving the heads up. Right. Because, like sometimes you might play local ball and everybody get in. Right. And then you go out of town.
It's a different story.
Yeah. It'd be a struggle sometimes. That's one of the things that when I look back on certain times that I was coaching, especially younger, I wish that I was more intentional at, like, even if it's like last 1 or 2 minutes of a half. Yeah. When it kind of don't really matter. Right. When you could sneak a minute here too for a kid, sneak a minute too. Because reality is that, like, it might not seem like it to a lot of parents, but I know I'll be like, damn, I wish I could have just got him in. Right. Just got him in for a little bit. Right. Because it matters. Yeah. And like sometimes that's all the parent be wanting. Yep. Just squeeze them in a little bit. Yeah. And shout out to the parents that understand that and know and have just like that small expectation. Yeah. Where, like when I reflect back, those are like some of the small little things. It's like, damn, if I was thinking better. There's probably like a minute or two here where I could have hit him. We inside the little zone. He gonna just be sitting right there. That's cool. Right. At least so that they can just see their kid be out there. Because it is like, if we talking about elementary, especially. Yeah, right. And that's like, what it was, yeah. It'd be like, damn. Middle school, it's a little more cutthroat. Sometimes you just got to take that. High school, it's a dub. You just got to make sure you get with the right program. If not, just understand your kid's not guaranteed to play. Right. It's just the reality of it. All right, I guess I would say where we're at right now, this got like we're kind of on grassroots in general, where, like I said, this at times this podcast can be a bit of a manual for some of our new parents that are just hopping into AAU basketball, and just kind of trying to understand what is all the bullet points on the syllabus, like what is going on. Right. There's a term that's thrown out often, circuit. Yeah. We hear circuit a lot.
Yeah.
I guess I'll toss to you. What is the circuit? How important is the circuit?
Okay.
And I guess we can start the conversation there.
Okay. Circuit, like you said. From what I did research, when I went in, I wanted to know because, hearing it as being a parent, it just sounds like it's just so important. And that you have to do it. And then what you find out is some programs misuse that word and you try to, lead you one way, but really, they not doing it like the other program is doing it. But, they're just trying to reel you in, and you find that out. And there's no knock to no program out there, but you have guys that do that. It's just like the smooth talking brother that's trying to get the draws. You know what I'm saying? So with the circuit, what I found out is, Under Armour. Under Armour is, you have to basically bid on it and have traction as a program. And then, once you bid on it, and reach out, it's like a application process, once you do that, they'll tell you when they have their conference call, and then they'll do research on you as a program. And then from there, they grant you the access, or you may have a connection with a NBA player or know someone that has an NBA player, in pocket that's, that has interest in making you an Under Armour program. Is easier like that. Under Armour was a little harder from what I see to get in. Now, then you have the Nike programs where, Made Hoops kind of funnels, Can
I jump in?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I guess just going to where you're at, and why he's naming all of this, like he's named Under Armour, he's going to Nike. So a bit of background on just when people say, and this is like the official circuit. Like a lot of people, like you have like the Junior Phenom circuit. I seen like Phenom Hoops, they about to throw out their own little circuit.
Right.
These are these are tournaments that are kind of like taking the word circuit and using it in a different way. Right. The official circuits, which is the sneaker circuits, are sneaker companies that sponsor grassroots programs to wear their shoes throughout the year to promote their product and eventually try to sign those kids to the sneaker company. And so with that, you have, it's kind of branched off. It used to be the main ones was Under Armour, Adidas, and Nike. Now you have Puma getting in there. You have New Balance getting in there. It's starting to broaden out to where everybody that kind of has signed athletes, they're starting to put together a sneaker circuit where it grabs a bunch of teams from all over the country and they bring them in and they play. And typically these circuits, which happen during the summertime, high school, these are where a bunch of college or the majority of college coaches will come to see concentrated talent at the same exact spot. And this is where you get into like the Peach Jams, if you've heard of that. Like any of these things, these are quote unquote, when people say circuit, these are the circuits where it starts in like maybe March, April, and it runs through June where they'll have like their nationals. And this is done during what is called the live period. Yeah, I toss it back to you. I know you was going through like the process of actually getting onto it.
No, that's a good breakdown, because I skipped all of that. But, but once you get back into that, you have the Nike program and then, like you said, the Adidas programs. And, this word circuit is thrown out. And then when people get a taste of it, like you said, when we was just talking about the player development and the wins, you got the overzealous parent that want the circuit. They want the circuit. They want their kid to be a part of it. They'll do anything to take a picture with their kid with the trophy and, so forth. But the circuit, to me, if you ask me, it is important because you're getting another level type of player. You're getting the overzealous dad, and you got 6 or 7 kids on that team, you know, which is good for your kid if you're somewhat overzealous dad, that, you know, you care about how your son look, you care about how he play, you care about his development. Your kid may be the best kid on his team, and then you go search and find this team, and you know, or you find a circuit team where you playing against all the dads, talents, with all the dads. That's what I call it. A team with all the dads. So, you know, it's good because you put your kid on that stage in that sense. If you look at it, if you're one of those parents that take basketball serious, you know, you're going to search for the circuit because, you know, you want your kid to play against top level talent, to know what it's like to play against a kid that actually run a mile a day. You hear these dads, you talk to them, you know, after the game, oh, I have such and such run a mile a day. He run 2 miles a day. He get up 200 shots a day. He be like, oh, that's why he shoot like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's good in one way, but then I think too, Q, sometimes it's misused. And
for sure.
And where we gotta park it is like what we was talking about, just with the development players, and then, you know, if you're the coach that's trying to win. If you got kids that's developing, it's not bad to throw them in the circuit because you want them to be able to see what the stage is like. I remember the first time we played in big shots, like it was spooky for our kids because all they know is they seen it on Instagram. They seen the shout outs that they give them. And big shots is not a big circuit, but that's like one of the best things to play in under Phenom, and big shots is where the teams that is something play.
They will hop in there too.
When they're not playing in the Adidas and the Made stuff. Like the team, the who's is at these tournaments. So I threw my guys in, and I'm like, we ain't gonna do Adidas or, you know, or none of that because we didn't.
And that's where you get the cross sneaker company battles actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't, you know, I throw them in there and let them see it, and then what you see is it's needed. So, but the magnitude of what these dads do, sometime I feel like you don't have to go that overboard with it. Some of these guys act like their kids are going to get like an offer tomorrow at 3rd or 4th grade. You know, so take it for what it is. Like, you know, it is top talent in there. Our team played in it. I don't think we got to win until like that Sunday, when they put you in the consolation bracket, and then, you know, but it was just the experience. It was just showing them, look, we've been working. All right. You know what kind of kids you are. The parents know. And I told the parents, hey, we're going to go and play in this tournament right in our backyard. We're not going to Texas. I'm not wasting your money. We're going to go right in our backyard and we're going to play. And I'm going to ask the director of the tournament, can we play the who's? I'm going to ask them, hey, can we play such and such? Hey, do you have a Adidas team? Hey, do you have this? I'm one of those coaches that request that. And then I let them see it. And then we go back to the drawing board, and I say to the parents, you know, do you think your kid is ready for that? And you should hear the conversations with that. But
that humbling.
Yeah. So
just a little straightening.
Yeah.
I get it. I guess where I tossed the conversation, you hit around it a little bit. Just how important is the circuit? And let's break it down into the 3 sections: elementary, middle school, and then high school. How important is the circuit?
Elementary, middle school, not that important. What I would say, Q, is like kind of what I was saying. Find the Phenom tournament, find the Big Shots tournament, and I'm not promoting. There's other tournaments out there too, but as a director, I know where to go. But you find those, and you playing those, and you mix it in with a couple bonds, and any of the other guys that's out there doing tournaments. Shout out to all the tournament directors. But at the elementary, middle school, you find those, and then if your kid if you're one of those parents that you really invest in your kid and you working on his body and stuff at middle school and him getting shots up, then you go find that program that plays and knows the high level, you know, and then maybe that middle school, that 8th grade, you find a team if your kid is good enough where he's going to get coached really well. He's going to compete against the who's, and then you go from there. But that elementary, middle school, it's not important. But I say when you get to that 7th, 8th grade, that's when you really want to kind of branch off.
Yeah.
And then kind of get their feet wet. It's not important, but get their feet wet. Let them see that big old complex. Because it's a different feeling when in there. If you coached in there, it's a different feeling. When you walk in there, like I got nervous as hell the first time I walked in the complex.
Shout out Rock Hill.
Yep, Rock Hill. Like what?
It's a little different than Carolina courts.
Yeah, it is. It is like 16 courts or something like that. I might be over exaggerating, but
that's close enough to it.
Yeah, it's a lot of courts.
Yeah. Just the noise, the sounds, the environment. To me, and I guess this is almost like a sidebar, but when like you go off season a little bit and you haven't been in there and then you walk back into like that environment, to me, it's almost like an adrenaline rush. As a coach, like just the smell of basketball, the chatter, the horns going off, like it's its own different feel that even like I know the players got to get it, but as a coach, it's just different when you're coaching in that environment in comparison to like when you're doing like maybe something smaller, even if it's like a Carolina courts or it might be like a tournament that's at the high school. What's the Hoop Fest?
Hoop Fest. I was gonna say that. Shout out to Hoop Fest. Basketball year round.
Yeah. So like you could do some of those, but then when you hop into go down to Rock Hill, or you go down to is it Greensboro? They got a good one. Like there's a couple of different ones.
Sportsplex
and Apex.
What is that called?
I can't remember. Right. Rise Indoor. When you walk in there, it gives you like that different feels. Like, all right, let me lock in. Let me lock in really quickly. Okay, but yeah, I guess in general, I probably have a similar take where I think going through it when I first walked into AAU basketball, I think you hear about the circuit, the teams that's associated with the circuits. And especially if you're an unknowledgeable parent, you just want to be on that. And you want to be attached to that because you see this program or these different programs, they're going to promote who their kids are in college. The seniors that's about to get scholarships. And what you don't realize is that that's so far away.
Right.
And those aren't like a lot of programs, they're different versions of grassroots are disconnected from each other. Some programs do it really, really well.
Right.
But what you also realize, again, we've said it a couple of times, is that like 8th grade, 9th grade, they're just going to kind of like take the best talent in the area, where this is where the development over wins part goes.
Right.
But even at the youth age, they still want their program to look good, so they do want to win. So like they'll take the best immediate talent at that time. But to me, going through the process, I learned that it's not as important to be necessarily attached to the it team too early.
Yeah.
Because of a lot more development ends up going where you got to kind of like get your head, knocked a little bit. And if you just only always on those elite teams with elite talent at that moment, there's a spot where that could be hindering your kid,
right? Because
of they don't have to actually work for too much.
Yeah.
Y'all beating everybody by 60, 70. So y'all, you know what I mean? Like y'all so much bigger than everybody that it's cool, especially the way that it's going now to where like teams barely practice. And it's just like a trainer based development system. But yeah, so my main thing would be don't get in there too early. I don't think that it's important, in my opinion, until 8th grade to be the earliest. But then when we do talk about scholarships and where to have the most concentrated coaches, I think the circuit, and I'll say two things. I think it was way more important previous to this new high school live period thing they're doing. It was the holy grail. Like you just had to be on one of these circuits, and like Nike was pushed as the top one. Then it was Under Armour, Adidas, and if you wasn't there, you was not about to get a scholarship.
Right.
But now I do like what they've done, where they've given high school their own live period. And in doing that, it's given some power back to the high school coaches. And you see a lot of scholarships being offered at these team camps. Whether it's, we're inside the Charlotte area, so whether it's the UNC Charlotte team camp, they got a Hoop State team camps that they do like at Roz. We went to South Carolina for a team camp. It's a lot of scholarships being pushed out.
How was that?
Which one?
The one South Carolina.
South Carolina. It was good. It was good. I think that they played the reigning 4A state champ. They played a couple other ones, but it was at the University of South Carolina. So like we was playing in Dawn Staley and them gym,
and they getting the college feel.
Yeah. They played at the arena one of the games. Like it's just it's a good environment. I definitely like the ones where you're able to go, like the UNC Charlotte one. Like they're playing on the main court,
right?
And they get that whole feel. You can look up and see the numbers. You get to see the like the announcers, the home, like it's the whole little feel to it. But then again, like it's a bunch of scholarships that's being offered inside all these different little spaces, in which I think it's important. But now it's moved to where it's not the end all be all.
Right.
Like you can get that same D1 scholarship. To be honest, now what I've seen is that during the EYBL and the circuit live periods, it'd be some thrown out there. I've seen a lot more inside open runs in gyms at like my I'll just speak for like my son inside their open runs and gyms where the coaches just come to the gym. And during team camp, that's where I've seen like the most scholarships being thrown out, which has been interesting to me because previously it was way different.
And I didn't know that they did that. Yeah.
I'd at least say like where my son is at, a lot of coaches they'll just come to the open. They'll find out, and you'll see it a little bit on IG now. Yeah, the teams, especially I think it's like June. Well, it's usually probably like July to August, September. They'll post their practice schedules online. Okay, but that's for the coaches to come out there and come see. Okay, and then they'll start posting. This school was inside my gym today. Yeah. And like that's become like a really, really popular thing where I'm not even mad at it because it does give options to where your kid can get recruited at. Where it's not just concentrated that if you don't make one of these like circuit teams, that's not over. That's it. Yeah. And you got to play like a very specific political game for that. Right. But at least now you got a balance of like at least two options where you can get seen and put in front of coaches. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. And you know, just talking about that, you know, it's good that the high schools are doing that because, you know, they was playing catch up for a while with these programs, and them programs had leverage. Well, they had the power. Yeah. They had all the power. Yeah, because, you know, that like you said, you was talking about the live periods. See, when I created Halo Elite, I did my research and wanted to know, hey, what's the live period? What's so good about a live period? You know, what's this? What's that? You know, what's this circuit? And I would email the guys. But on that high school stuff is like a lot of the offers was coming from those big name programs. You know what I'm saying? Like we talking about with the AAU and they getting the big offers, and it still is a lot of the big offers that you see, you know, comes from that. And then these high schools draw interest from them having players, those players at the schools that played on these programs. Now that coach is interested in coming to that school because you got XYZ at this school that played here. Okay, so we'll come in there and look at what else they got. Right, you know right. And that's something that I've seen happen a lot too. Yeah. Where coach will be coming into the high school gym to look at one kid. Yeah. And then they'll offer two kids. Yeah, yeah. And be like, oh, okay. Like there is a benefit to whether it's at the I keep saying EYBL, but at the circuit level or at the high school level of making sure that you are around talent. Though. Yeah. Because if talent brings more odds. And if your kid is inside the right situation, right moment, and is ready, they can benefit off of those. Yeah. You can benefit off of being in the right place at the right time. I think we keep thinking about EYBL because that's a lot of the ones you hear about. Yeah, yeah. You know, and I know with us, that's the program that we first came into. Yeah. But we, you know, again, shout out Team United. That was the the program that we came in up under.
Yeah,
like that was the first program. I think we've all probably been on different circuit teams throughout like the journey, but that was like where it first started, where I had to do all my research and be like, what's this? Is this?
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
What is this?
It sounds like the boogeyman coming in. Like,
right.
You like, what is it? Yeah, everybody keep talking about it. So, like you said, me, I email. Me being who I am, I'm like, man, let me email who throwing these tournaments.
Yeah.
And let's see what it's about. You know what I'm saying? And what is, what you find out is they got grassroots side, and then, they feed that into the high school side.
Yeah.
And, so that's why, the kind of, piggyback off what you were saying earlier too, about maybe around the 8th grade, I would say maybe the 7th grade, you kind of find you a team or a situation. And then you kind of let your kid kind of from the 7th to the 8th grade to the 9th grade. And then there you go. 9th grade, them high school years matter. So is the circuit important? Yeah, really at high school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we seen even with the Taurus kid, like Taurus went from, a kid that was this and he started getting better to he went to Puma and he was wrecking it. And a lot of them offers, I feel like, came from there because he was putting up numbers in Puma.
Yeah, he went Puma, but then he also went to Team Thad. Over at an EYBL and was putting up the same numbers, and then
putting up numbers.
The floodgates started opening. I literally had a homeboy. He does video in it's like one of them middle of the country states or whatever.
Yeah, and
he was like, "Who is this Taurus kid?"
Oh, so he knew about him.
Yeah, he was just doing video at the game, and like they'll say where the kids at, and so he know like I'm in Charlotte. I went to school with him out in Durham.
Yeah,
but he moved like middle of the country, but he does like a lot of video for programs. I forget, maybe it's Mocan that he does, like he just does travel and video for. But he was like, who is this kid Taurus from Charlotte? And I was like, oh yeah, nah, he's one of them ones. He was like he's and he was just kind of running down what he was seeing live in the game. And I was like, like this is like one of his breakout moments there, where he's going. I think Taurus might have had 30 in that game. He was playing with Team Thad. I forget which stop it was, but nonetheless, shout out to the circuit.
Yep, shout out to the circuit. And just to run back what you're saying, parents, if you watching and guys, and we liking that y'all subscribing and viewing and keep doing it, keep encouraging, because our job is to kind of let you know what we've been through and what we experienced and kind of help you navigate through this thing. If you don't know, what you're going to find out, just like in life, is a bunch of liars and there's people that's the truth. You got the light and you got the dark. All right. So, in the younger years, 2nd to maybe 6th grade, you want to make sure that your kid got a situation where he can play and develop. Then from that 6th grade year, you look at your kid. If y'all gonna put that work in by 7th grade, you need to be finding you a situation where they playing like what I got, like Under Armour, where they can get their feet wet, and then they play them grassroots years, 7th grade, 8th grade, and then they might not stick with you. They might outgrow your program. And coaches, I'm gonna say this again, coaches, let that kid go. If he outgrows your program, stop trying to hold on to him if there's another bigger and better situation for him. And then when it comes to that high school, 9th grade, they most definitely need the circuit, because a lot of that live period stuff that you talk about is big live period stuff in Adidas Gauntlet. The Peach Jam, EYBL, Adidas, Gold, and then you got Puma now with the Pro 16. So, that's the rundown on how this thing goes. Don't be so pressed to play with it early on. Just make sure your kid developing.
Make sure they're ready when them scholarships is starting to really get offered out, thrown out there. That'd be my biggest thing. Let's take a quick little break. You said the light, the dark. Some people telling lies. I thought that this right here is funny. I'm gonna push play on this a little small break, but this is also something that you'll see in the circuit. Where sometimes you'll see some people try and make themselves a little more important than what they actually are.
23.
Hey, Sebastian. I like what I saw out there. What's your name?
Sebastian Mackey.
Sebastian Mackey? Yeah, how tall are you?
6'2".
6'2"?
Yeah.
You got a lot of heart in you.
Appreciate that.
Look at that. What do you think about playing ball at?
You see that LSU is on my list.
Like white girls? We got the baddest white girls in the whole country. I mean, for real.
Where you find
Snow bunnies all day, every day. You can handle all that? They're big bodies, too. You might have to take one for the team.
Told us.
I got you.
Look at you. Good game. Keep it up.
Cute. The question, you like white girls? Come on, man. You asking a kid that, man.
I thought that was hilarious.
Right,
I forget what his name is. I'm sure the kids that watch this would know him. I think he's like one of them famous skit people. Nonetheless, I think the funny part to it, but that has a little piece of truth, is that you'll see a lot of people that will pretend to be a little bit more. This could be like even the trainers that's looking to get parents at the games, where they're like, well, I used to train.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Whether it's like an assistant coach or a coach that's trying to recruit for his program or whatever. And especially if we get lower grassroots away from the circuit, where you have a good game, your kid got a good game, don't let your kid score 25 inside the 4th, 5th grade. There's that Suge Knight coach over there.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Hey.
Yeah. Come on to death row.
Yeah. Which, like I said, you see that a lot. I don't know, what's your experience with it?
Oh man. Hey, I'm just laughing at the me, because you see that, and then usually typically that guy that you see is like you said, he's a part of a program. So that program might have some clout, they might be good. Money. And then he like, hey, the conversation that he didn't show is like, hey, look, we want you to come play with us. We're going to fly you out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do this X, Y, Z. And you see that. And all we're saying is, it's not always bad.
We'll get you that rental car.
Right. It's not always bad, but it's not always good. You know what I'm saying? So parents, just watch out for that, because, you have a lot of people, and that's why I said the light and the dark. You got the truth, and then you got ones that lie to get where, and they always have good teams, though. I always see guys like that that do that, and they got the mouthpiece and is willing to say what you want, and then they got a good team, and then you like, I'm a better coach than him, though.
Yeah. Shout out to we're gonna get to the audience questions in a little bit. I think there's an audience question that hits directly on that.
Right on that, yeah.
And so we'll save that a little bit further inside the episode. We'll run down everybody. We got a couple really good audience questions.
Yeah. And shout out to those that's reaching out to Q, reaching out to me. And y'all see this Duke cover. I got to shout out Duke. So we're gonna beat Georgia Tech today.
Y'all see right over his head.
Yeah.
That UNC.
Yeah. Hey, but I talked him into getting that Duke towel in here too, though.
This is true.
But at the end of the day, man, shout out to everybody out there that's liking and subscribing and asking questions.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Because we need that. Even with the topics, we're going to talk about, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but we want to know, how you feeling and what you want to hear. And we're going to hit on that.
For sure. So I guess speaking of that, we're kind of transitioning from like high school to college a little bit, but it impacts both. It's been a new court ruling. They've opened it up to where Juco, you can play 2 full years of Juco, and those won't count against your 4 years of eligibility when it comes down to NCAA and being able to play. So in essence, you can almost say that they have instituted permanent COVID, the COVID year, to where it used to be like you could redshirt and then you had like a COVID year now. But now it's going to be just generally speaking, everybody can get 6 years. If you go to Juco route. And that could be you play 1 year, then you go do two Jucos, then you go. How do you see this impacting kids at the high school level first. Like I think it'll have its impact across the board, but kids at the high school level, how do you see it impacting these new JUCO rules?
I mean, that kind of hurts, you know, because if you look at it on the aspect of, I was watching something about that early on this week, and the dude kind of was saying, like, you got to be really nice, you know, as far as like to get the offer now with doing this, because, you know, instead of taking a chance on a kid that's, you know, that has potential in the, you know, in the 12th grade or 11th grade, you're like, okay, he got potential, but then you got a kid that's already seen it, you know, and then he need to get his grades up a little bit, you know, to get the
body
offer
already filled out.
Yep, body already filled out, and now he's in there and he's competing at a high level. It's like, I could go with him because he already in the fight.
You already know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Hell, that's how UConn built their first championship. Bunch of proven transfer portal kids.
Yeah.
Like now he's bringing in like his pieces, but when he first did it, it was transfer portal kids. I think the transfer portal in itself was really impactful once they did that, because previous to the transfer portal being what it is now, you had to sit out a year if you did transfer programs. So it made it to where kids would stick it out a little bit. To where now you can pretty much transfer. I think you can transfer 2 times, right? Without any penalty. You don't have to sit out a year. You don't have to wait. It's nothing. And so when you take a lot of kids transferring to different programs, and then now it opens up the ability for JUCO kids to come in and then stay longer also. Like the pool of like adult athletes are going to be so big to where if you're a program, whether it's your win now or you're a mid major that want to make make some noise, like you have all these bigger, stronger, older kids that are just out there,
right? To
be able to kind of pick from, in comparison to like having high school kids where like you'll have your 1 and 2 that are like body wise ready,
right,
and talented, but I think a lot of those kids that was going to get those scholarships that maybe you was going to kind of ride that bench for a year or so. And then you was going, whether you redshirted or you just kind of like, you know, like you set that year to kind of develop, you're getting in very spot minutes and stuff like that. I think those scholarships will be going out to the transfer portal, those JUCO, them older JUCO kids, especially, like I said, if you're inside, let's say like the MEAC, like that's Division I, pretty much that whole conference get one bid to the NCAA.
Yeah.
Everybody's fighting to try and find that.
Yeah.
Just to get on that stage. Maybe you can be a Cinderella and then all that money go to your program and then that's big. They're going to take bigger, like more of a chance on a proven kid that got film against like real adult players in comparison. Like, let me get this kid out there in Farmville, North Carolina, that I ain't really seen him play against like all the best, but I like what I see. I could develop that.
Yeah.
And then again, the transfer portal hurts because now not parents, but coaches are afraid of like overly coaching, and that they can't really develop kids either. Yeah. Because they out.
Yeah.
Like you sit them and teach them a little lesson for a long enough time, they out.
Yeah.
I don't know that. Like I said, that's what I'm seeing.
I mean, bro, when you listen to it, I don't like it. I like the transfer portal to a certain extent, but when it comes to that JUCO rule, like I didn't know Dalton Connect did that. They said they was talking about Dalton Connect.
Yeah, Dalton was like he's older.
Yeah,
I think he benefited from the JUCO and the COVID.
The JUCO, yeah. So speaking on that with the new rules, like, and they was talking about the quarterback from, was it?
I think that's Pavia, where the ruling comes from.
Yeah, Pavia, the quarterback. Yeah. But my thing is with that, okay, I don't like that because that can hurt with, you got a son in the fight. You know, he may get overlooked because of that. and then now end up, and I don't like speaking into existence. He's gonna get what he's gonna get to him, but that makes it hard for the guy that's putting the work in, is what I'm saying. You putting in work, you get up, I see your story in the morning, you getting up 5 a.m, 6 a.m. with your son, and y'all putting work in, right? Still take a chance on that kid is what I'm saying. Don't, just because this kid is, didn't have his act right in 12th grade, and then he goes to JUCO, and then he gets his grades right, and then now he's going against grown men, and he should look like that. But don't throw all your cards in on that. The beauty of basketball is the what if, and when you take a chance on, and when you hear the stories of this team drafted this player but didn't believe in him and push him here, or we took a chance on this player and nobody else didn't want him, and then boom, here you go. He you know what I'm saying? He becomes who he is. So, I don't like the JUCO rule. If you ask me if I'm for it or against it, I don't like it. But the transfer portal, I'm not totally against it. I just think, which I think you said, because I didn't read too much on it, but they do have stipulations, is what you said.
Well, they used to.
Oh, okay. So now they can just jump around.
Yeah, that's, and I'm not a big fan of either. I'm kind of like so traditional with it. I'm not a big fan of like NIL with the transfer portal or this new rule. Yeah. Where previously you had to sit out, and this is like, I think maybe the ruling came during like 2020 around COVID time, where prior to that, if you transferred programs, you had to sit out a year unless it was like something dealing with like your parents or medical like thing to where you needed to be inside this specific state. And that'd be where you could get a waiver from. But outside of that, if you just was transferring the transfer, you was losing a year of eligibility and you were sitting. Okay. So it made it to where it didn't incentivize players to just hop around. Yeah. In comparison now, if I'm not mistaken, you could transfer free of like any penalty twice, and then you could just and then you could just go up and play. So if like you don't like it here, I'm transferring and I play. Yeah, like what's Haley Van Lith? Yeah, well, she at Louisville, and then she went to South Carolina, and then she did not South Carolina. She went to LSU with Angel, and then now she's somewhere else where. Like she just did 1 year. Yeah. And so you're starting to see that happen. Yeah. Now, what you're saying is, what I would like to see is maybe they draw back on that, and maybe 1 year you could do that. You know what I'm saying? And then it's not like you said, you bouncing around. Because to me, what it just looked like, and I heard Coach Cooley say this. I was watching the IG clip. And he said, basically what you're doing is, you running from the adversity and you allowing the kids to say, hey, I don't like it here. I'm out. Right. It's like, no, man, you just talked about Penny was saying earlier. The same thing. We was talking about this earlier, just with your son, just the adversity part. Yeah. Like, just deal with the adversity, deal with the environment, deal with everything that comes with it. It ain't going to be glitter when you get there. It's a good school, is y'all gonna play against competition, put the work in, but it ain't gonna be what you ain't gonna roll a red carpet out for you. Go out there and take it. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to stuff like that, man, and these new rules like the JUCO rule, like, man, come on, man, like the eligibility, you guys need to count that. And stop giving these guys extra years, because we don't want no 30-year freshman dribbling the basketball. He should look better than, you rarely get the guys. And I was talking to your son about Jeremiah Fears. Like, that's my new favorite. Every year I got a new favorite up and coming talent. When Keontae George was playing, I loved Keontae George. He doing his thing in Utah. I wish he'd be more aggressive and be one of those guys like a John Morant for that team and score, but it's NBA politics with that. But, like Jeremiah Fears, I watched him for the first time. I was hearing about him. And I'm like, he's a true freshman. That's what we like to hear. Right. We want to hear the guy that's true freshman, that he's just cut from a different cloth. Right. And he didn't have 3 years of JUCO to prepare to play his freshman year at a university. And you just said something that I think, just to cut in really quickly. Go ahead, man. Well, we not even thinking about the fact that it could be a reclass that did 2 years. Right. And then 4 years. So now we talking about 7 years. So like Easily. And the thing is, like, it's not like reclassing is like so far in between. Like, you see it a lot now. It's like it's very modern. Yeah. Like, it's a new, it's common. That's the word I'm looking for. Where you'll see in very soon a lot of that puts you at 25 years old. Yeah, that'll put you 2 years and then 5 years.
That was like in a different sport. But
6 years.
Chris Winkie? He was like 32 years old as a rookie quarterback in the NFL.
Yep. Shout out for, what was he at? Florida State?
Right, Florida State.
Come
on, man. Like, we got to stop that, man.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about 20, like making it consistent to where you have 25-year-old college basketball players. Then my thing is like, damn, they got to have like a whole...
like, come on, man. Like, me and you should go and walk on.
Right. That's what it feels like. Like, damn, what degree? I guess you working on your doctorate now.
Right.
Like, you done did 4 years plus an extra 2. And then you, like you said, like, if you a reclass, you didn't have the prep year. I don't know.
And you get them players like that. You remember, like, and there's no knock to your heels, but like Baycott just seemed like he was there for years. Like,
well, I mean, RJ Davis is kind of the same.
Same thing.
I'm kind of ready for like that crew. I was happy that Caleb Love left. Yeah, like I want to see like Elliot Cadeau, Ian Jackson. Just give it to the kids. Yeah, our recruitment class doesn't line up talent for talent. To where y'all is. Where like a lot of times we'll get 1 or 2, but a lot of them we gotta develop for a year.
And y'all did a really good job at that.
Yeah, shit. Trimble found the jump shot this year.
And he was a high flyer, right?
He that was it.
That's Vince Carter.
They was just letting him shoot. Yeah, they just sitting back and like, you got it.
Well, shout out to Trimble for finding that jump shot.
right. Okay, all right. So I guess this would be a quick way to segue us over. Again, we hit college. We didn't hit high school. We can talk about the league a little bit.
Yeah. We got to talk about them Hornets too. Don't run from that, Q.
We can't actually, but we gonna get there. Let's hit a couple popular topics when it comes down to the league. I'll pull this up just so the audience can see, and then we can kind of get into the conversation a little bit. So right now you hear a lot. This has been like a popular topic on a lot of sports shows, just in general. Are we at the end of an era? Right now, the NBA is down with like 47% of viewership. There's a lot of conspiracies about like what is wrong with the league. Why is there not a lot of interest? Why is the viewership down so much? Parlay King, what is your initial thought? Why do you think the league is inside a drought right now when it comes down to viewership and I guess supposed interest? Yeah,
well, I will say first and foremost, they coming up with all these apps that you got to subscribe to watch games. So like if we're in Charlotte, right? So if and the first time I heard it was on the radio station, I listened to in the morning going to work. And they was talking about like how, you got Peacock and all these other platforms trying to like take away from here. We got Spectrum. I don't know where it is everywhere else, but we got Spectrum. That's our cable provider. Well, you got those entities like Peacock and Paramount that's trying to buy into you actually subscribing to them to watch a home game.
Right.
So
that's
now,
big.
So now you got a person like me that I love the hookup, so I got a Fire Stick guy that I get to watch it. So I don't think all the viewership is being programmed when you got those jailbroken apps.
No, that's a fact. Or like, well, I ain't telling them myself, but there's some people that know how to use the internet well enough to where you could just find whether it's your favorite football game, basketball game, UFC fight, boxing fight. It's all on the internet at the right. Internet. I think LeBron even uses it. He was caught at a game on one of them sites. But just make sure you got a good what is it? The ad blocker. The pop-up blocker. You got a good little pop-up blocker.
What is it called? Yeah, one of them that you can subscribe to one of.
Like the VPN Jones.
Yeah, the VPN that block your VPN because they'll try to interrupt that.
Yeah. But no, I think that is a big thing. The fact that so many of the games. Like, for example, you got to subscribe for the TNT games. You got to have HBO Max, right? Then you, like you said, there's Peacock games that you can get, and there's certain things. There's is it Disney Plus? There's Disney certain channels that like you can watch the games on, like certain games on those.
Amazon.
Amazon. Netflix is hopping into the game when it comes down to streaming live sports. But then
YouTube.
So many people, like from what I know I don't have cable at all.
Yeah, me neither.
So many people don't have cable. And back in the day, that was the easiest way for you could just consume all of it. But now, because of the rise of streaming, and so we have subscriptions to like 5, 6, 7 places instead of just paying a cable bill.
Right.
That nobody is able to see your local team.
Right.
And so the viewership's naturally going to be down on that because of any of those 9 times out of 10, they have the little blackout for the local shit, especially if it hasn't sold out or something like that. And yeah, I think it's just become too hard. You got to have too many different things. Like, shout out to my family. I got a big family, so I got logins for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm paying for HBO, you got Amazon. Like, we'll run it like that. But so many people don't have that, to where, like, you might see a game or two on this platform that you watch, and then you might not even see any local games because of, like, it's blacked out. And then again, you have the big surge of like what's being seen inside alternative ways, like a Fire Stick or one of them internet websites.
Right. One of them good old sites.
Yeah.
So, but I think like what you're saying, that's probably why the main reason why the viewership is down. But then the quality of basketball.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to my guy. Shout out Courtside Ross too. Instagram. He coached a JV team when I had Halo Elite going full steam, and they were pretty good. Shout out to Ross. He's been nothing but good. He's a guy that, is all into the analytics. He had a podcast. But I was talking to him, and he was just like, he seen something where Kendrick Perkins was talking about, like, when the Wizards are on, he tell his kids to cut the TV off. Like, that's bad. Like, when you seeing quality of basketball like that, I think it's just more on the entertainment side of that year of the, we had James Harden when he dribbled did the 20 tweens with the sidestep 3, and they went to the playoffs with him doing that. Like, that's bad basketball, man. Let's get back to.
And I think the league in general is, for if I'm comparing watching college to the league, I think it's not even a comparison.
It's not.
There's better defensive schemes, better offensive sets, and they haven't like completely sold out to just the 3-point line inside the college game. Where in the NBA now, you're seeing record highs of
transition
missing threes in a game. You're seeing record highs of 3 attempts, to where there's like compilations where it can be like 8 trips down. And it's only being 3 shots. And a lot of times it's just like transition quick threes.
No lob, no pin down, no slip screen for a big or nothing.
It's just a bunch of gunning tough threes. And this is where like the analytics have came into play, where I think it's ruined the viewer experience of it. Where some people, and maybe we'll get into this inside in a second, some people might say that it's the most skilled like era of basketball when it comes down to like skill set and dribbling and different things like that. But it's become so dumbed down to where you just guard the 3-point line and then make sure you have a big at the bottom to contest. But that's pretty much the entire thing. But then everybody's kind of just running a basic 4-out or 5-out in general. When you get into like outside of like 1 or 2 or 3 sets here and there that they'll do. And then a lot of the action is still just trying to get you action to get a 3-pointer.
They get a 3-pointer.
And if you get any penetration, they're almost passing up layups, just throw it to that corner.
To the corner. And I hate that. Q, that you said something right there. That irks me. And I tell my kids, don't watch that.
Yeah.
Right now, when you developing.
And I done seen it in high school game now.
Oh, man. Like, they got the high school?
Well, yes. And then I would say, like, I've seen players, because eventually you innately mimic what you see all the time.
Yeah.
So they be right there and they like
and they kick
throw
to
it
the
out.
corner. And it was a wide open leg.
Yeah. Yeah. And be like,
man. Yeah.
It gets a little tough.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's not as entertaining of a game as growing up, where there's not a lot of like diversity of like how teams was playing. It's like it used to be fun where, in my opinion, you would have like Phoenix Suns, like you know about to get up and down.
Yep.
But then you might have like Detroit where it was going to be
defensive. Yeah. We beating you up.
Right.
Physical.
Right. Then you had like the different teams that had, 2 or 3 players that can just go get it.
Right. Or you played to that. So you seeing variety of basketball instead of seeing we seeing the same thing.
Some teams play inside out. Some teams play outside in.
Right.
Where like Jokic and them, they might be like the only example of like a real inside out scenario.
Right.
I was watching, I think them and Memphis are like 2 of the teams. They kind of run a little different than a lot of teams do, where Memphis doesn't run a lot of pick and roll. A lot of it ends up being like weak side read and react, and they're like they'll do a lot of things to get you middle penetration, but then there's very specific reads that the dunker and the guy that usually that'd be shaken up that they're reading off of exactly how the team is playing. Right. And I thought that was interesting. Yeah. I think Draymond said that they're playing weird offense, but they're playing weird offense because everybody has gotten so used to everybody playing the exact same way.
It's like every team played the same way. And I think it might have been Draymond. It's funny you mentioned him. I seen a video where he was talking about where he can tell whether a team is really disciplined. Well. By the low man.
Yep.
So it's like, man, like, come on, man. NBA, give us some better product, man.
Right. And this it up. This is where like all of them, the European kids, like not even kids, but the guys, they come in, and in my opinion, they dominate the league because the league is so simplified.
Yeah.
What is it like? Maybe 5 out of the top 6 or 7 players are from overseas.
Yeah.
When you go into like Giannis, Luka, Jokic, hell, SGA is not American.
Yeah, he
came up through a different system where they're learning basketball and like a bunch of different reads out of that. And then when you get into the league and y'all simplified it to where it's only 2 or 3 reads.
It's easy to
and like I've seen like way more complex in this. So like the game is so slow. And where if I come here, I know I just look at this one man and then the pass is there.
Yeah.
Or if he doesn't commit, then it becomes so easy
to him.
To where with us in right now, there's a lot of kids, and it's bad to see like some high school programs and AAU programs starting to adopt it. Where I think, hell, you said you went back and watched a film and just counted how many threes.
How many threes?
Like that's good where we get back into like the development of a wins thing.
Right.
Like they won, maybe. I think they won, right?
Yeah.
But the development piece of it, where the long haul, people that's dominating the league, they actually had to run and understand real offense, motion offense, read and react offense. Princeton. Like now you're getting like the Ukraine sets. You're getting the like pretty much like sets from all these different countries that have like really precise read and react concepts that they're running over and over that have multiple options and multiple reads. And these players are coming in the league having played that since like 14, 15 through like their grassroots system.
Which I call him the manufacturer player. Yeah. He's seen it early. And
you hear them come in the league and like they drag, they be like, nah, it's kind of easy.
Yeah, it's easy. Yeah. Lucas said that. He was like, they asked him like, how you have so much success? He was like, it's easy.
It's easier. Like they more packed in inside there. Like they play way more intentional defense. And it's so many people, the way their system, the farm system is set up, there's so many people waiting and hungry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think just going to that point, I think the league has kind of dumbed down the game to where as a user, not a user, as a viewer,
it ends
up being not as fun.
Yeah. It like you said,
I'd rather watch college,
and that's what I was about to say. I'd rather watch college because you see concepts, you see, just a different brand of basketball. Even with the girls, you just seeing, like you said, a scheme. You seeing defenses. You seeing, this team playing this way because they got these type of players. Then you might go and watch this game and you seeing this type of scheme because they got shooters. They known for having shooters. Or you might see Gonzaga because they got this type of player.
Or even high school. Like I recently watched, I think you was at the game, where like seeing like real good strategy. Like I've seen coaches and I'd be like, I get it. And this is smart. Well, like they'll put a 5'8" player on a 6'6" player, but that 6'6" player might be wing based.
Right.
And so now this 6'6", this 5'8" player is just up in them the entire time. And then they got their bigs actually just staying in the paint on the nail, low man.
Yep, just to protect the paint. Yep.
But this 6'6" guard that's used to only playing people his size can't even get into the paint based off of the fact that he can't get by this guard.
Low guy, yeah.
Because of like, he's not playing big.
Right.
And like that strategy, because a lot of people just going to match height with height.
Right.
And I think that that's the thing where if you start understanding like matchups, coaching, I can, like, if this is a smaller, big guy, if I now have him trying to post up this little guard, but his game isn't based off of like catching post, back shoulder. Shout out Isaiah Evans. Like with him, he developed that because of that happening.
Because of that, yeah.
But like some players, they're earlier in their development to where they haven't made that adjustment to where like seeing coaching strategy happen.
Right.
Inside like an effective manner where in the league, sometimes they'll just get killed on a drop off of pick and roll and never make the adjustment. And I'm like screaming, like, strap it. At least strap the nigga.
Right.
You know what I mean? Do something. Like, change something
different. Right.
I said, anything can happen.
Right.
Like, they either going to drop coverage or switch. Right. And then they, like, teams just hunt the switch.
Yeah.
Or then you see Luka go slow motion.
Yep.
And they go atop the screen and it look like he just walking into a layup.
Slow into a layup.
And like, bro, this isn't interesting.
Yeah.
There's no strategy happening here. Y'all have the best players in the world.
If you let them tell it. Though.
And I guess this will go to I got a meme that'll kind of piggyback to that, where again talking about the most skilled, the best players in the world. I thought that this was an interesting take.
I'm going to be honest. I think everybody as a basketball community needs to sit down for a second and redefine what skill is. Because that's one thing you hear all the time. It's like, hey, the players today are more skilled. This is the most skilled that the game has ever been. And on one hand, I 1,000% agree. Like, you could watch somebody like LaMelo Ball and the things he does on the basketball court today. In 1980, it wouldn't even make sense to you. Like, your mind would explode if you saw him play basketball. But then on the other hand, my question is, when did the fundamentals stop being skilled? Like, if we're being completely honest, there are probably less than 10 players in the NBA right now who are good at scoring out of the triple threat. And I'm talking the most basic thing ever. Hey, listen, just jab step and then shoot the ball. And the thing that trips me out is like people will argue you down about Kyrie, KD, Kobe, Mike, those being the greatest scorers ever. Like, people will argue for real about that. But then at the same time, nobody tries to play like that. Literally nobody tries to model their game after them. The most simple players in
I'm gonna pause that really quickly. This is something that's so overlooked about Kyrie.
Yeah.
Most of his game is simple as that.
It's simple.
It's triple threat. Like, if you hear him talk about it, he say, go look at my triple threat scoring compilation.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of exactly this, catching the post and play out of it. That's just quick little tangent.
NBA who just mastered 1-2 dribble pull-ups, working off the jab step, having good footwork. Nobody tries to do that. And then we have the evolution of the big man, where pretty much all we did is remove all footwork, post moves, and say catch and shoot jumper or catch a lob. Like, shouldn't the evolution of the big man mean that everybody looked like Hakeem Olajuwon or everybody got the same footwork as Kobe and Mike? Doesn't that make more sense than 7-footers doing sham gods and shooting from half court? I can't tell you the last time I turned on a game and seen a drop step. So again, what exactly do we mean when we say more? All right, I'm gonna be honest. I think everybody as a basketball community.
Yeah. I thought that this was like an interesting take.
Yeah.
I guess I'll throw it to you to start off the conversation. Like I said, I thought he made some points. It was some decent points there to be made. Are we looking at the most skilled is just like being able to pee-pat the ball and do like all these when I talk to my son, I call them micro moves.
Yeah.
Like you get stuck on doing a bunch of micro moves. It's
You're right.
Where like this is like, to me, if you're watching boxing, if you're a boxing fan, it's like feints.
Yeah.
Throw the jab.
Right.
Throw the power shot at some point.
Right.
At some point, you can't just keep feinting the whole time.
Right. You might get knocked out.
Yeah. I throw it to you. Yeah. Your thoughts on it?
Man, to be honest,
is this actually the most skilled era, or is that being used too loosely?
It is, and it is skilled. But you got to think about this. In this era, you got a bunch of trainers that go and watch old footage, and they come up with names and how to manipulate for new moves and new footage. So you get guys like, if guys know about DJ Sackman or the Tyler Ralphs, guys that train these NBA players, that what they do is they go down and break down Kobe film. And then they look at what he did and what he didn't do, and they create off of what he didn't do, and they also show you what he did do. And now you got a whole realm of new moves that guys did organically sometimes in the 90s, because I've seen some of the moves in the 90s. They just didn't have names.
Well, the thing is that most of those, what people are doing, they're training reactionary moves.
Yeah.
And again, like this ends up being the thing. And this is why, like, even like with my son, like a good portion of like his training, like I can teach him.
Yeah.
But it's because I grew up in the era where, and I grew up in the AN1 era also. Like I like that was just kind of like we so much of this is just translated from that to where these are all things that we did reactionary wise.
Right.
And like they try and like format it so much into the game in comparison to where it would flow. This is where like you hear Kyrie talk about this. Most of his highlights are just reactionary moves that people try to make like, wait, I got to set it up and do this X, Y, Z. Where like back in the day, like it's so many different things. I can't even think of one off the top, but like so many of these reactionary moves, these were just counters after, like if I did a low, like hang, I'm doing this, and then like you're reaching, I'm either going behind my back or between. And then whatever you do after that, I'm playing out of that. But they'll kind of make that whole thing like a synchronized movement.
Right.
That you're not understanding it's a reactionary piece to this entire thing as well.
It's choreography now.
Right.
They're teaching them to dance.
Yeah, like you get like 17 kids in one line doing like cone choreography. And
that's a good one. Cone choreography.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's what it ends up being. And I think a good point to be made, like I've recently seen a compilation, is like from James Harden, like all the best players in the league right now, from Kyrie to Paul George to everybody that people say has the bag. And when they're talking about what you should focus on, they all say fundamentals. They say fundamentals, and then they go footwork.
Yep.
And then you hear triple threat.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that that's not what's being emphasized of how to properly read and understand and break down those things, in which we get caught up in, like, I seen Curry go cross between behind wrap into a step back three.
And that was all reaction, though. He probably didn't even train.
Well, Curry, the one that goes viral the most is when he's breaking through, like, what was that, the Clippers? And he does, that's all reaction.
It's all reaction drill.
But now kids are trying to do that, and trainers are trying to get their kids to do that. And parents are trying to get their trainer to get their kids to do that. As like a choreographed like routine in the game that doesn't call for that.
Right. It doesn't. And
that ends up being like, I think that's his own thing. And it's hard for me to think that, that is skill.
Yeah. You look at, what you're saying, you look at Shai Gilgeous. You brought up SGA. If you watch him play, one dribble pull-ups, two dribble pull, like he might shoot a couple off balance, but you could tell he practiced that. You know what I'm saying? It's not that he's just coming down doing that. It's, you know, his momentum might be taking him towards the baseline when he pulled up on you, and now he's drifting, but he hits that shot.
Right.
But, you know, but if you watch him play, most of it is fundamental. Now, people used to, I'm gonna take this somewhere. People would talk about Jordan, and you know, you got the Jordan LeBron comparison. And they like, oh, LeBron is better. Well, LeBron.
Hey, Trey, before you go there, I had a meme that, and we're going back Jordan LeBron comparison.
Okay.
But you use SGA. I recently ran across this right here.
Okay.
I meant to throw it in there, but this goes exactly to his point.
Okay.
I think y'all realize Shea uses the same move on the same defenders every single time. He's got Daniel Gafford. He got the ball. He brings it out to his left, delayed tween going to the right, dunk.
Sure.
That's one time, right?
Simple.
First time. Now I go to his right side. I got Gafford again. I bring the ball out, go to my left side, delayed tween to my right side, get to the rim, lay, bucket, tough. Second time. You think it was just 2 times of coincidence? Look at the third time. I got Derek Lively now. Different defender, still a big. I get the switch. What do I do? Bring the ball out to my left, delayed tween to my right, stop, and I end up getting a foul. Bring me to the free throw line. I don't think y'all realize Shea uses this.
Like sometimes
that's Jordan though.
It's just simplified.
Fadeaway and couldn't nobody do nothing about it. That's why when people try to argue, and I love LeBron James and his body of work, but when people argue with me about LeBron James and Michael Jordan and even Kobe, they had the same shot and you couldn't do nothing about it, and they won rings with it. Argue that. You knew it was coming. Argue that. You knew it was coming, and you hear guys say it. When he put the shoulder on you, you know what he about to do. And what could you do about it? Nothing. So you can't. LeBron has an upside on both of those players I mentioned. He's 6'8", 6'9", mobile like one of the fastest guards that you know, and he can move. I mean, he had a up on both of them, and to me, I still look at both of them better than LeBron James. Why? Because they dominated a game with the same move, like what Shea.
Well, to me, there was more skill.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes you can see the compilations. LeBron trying to like just do.
He run you over.
Tween.
Yeah, he run you over.
He looked like he be having like a little basketball in his hand.
Right.
He be trying to go through the Phil. Shout out Phil Handy. Phil Handy's one of the. I like his. I don't know.
Breakdown of the game.
Yeah, breakdowns of the game, like his training progressions. Yeah, like he has a lot of like that on YouTube, and his training progressions make sense.
That's what I used.
Phil Handy.
I used that. Yeah. So when I got into training. You know, I of course you want to be better. You want to make sure you giving your kids the right stuff.
Yeah.
And I just look at how he formatted, and I kind of put my own concept with it. But he has an app that you can subscribe to, and he kind of breaks it down. So that I use that, and I mean, what better way? It taught me, and I was able to teach mine.
Yeah.
So yeah. Shout out Phil Handy too.
For sure. Yeah. But you'll see LeBron attempting to do some of his drills, and it'd be like you'd be like, "Oh, damn!"
Yeah.
Where you hear Kobe, you hear Jordan, like they're catching on the block and the foot. Like we just seen a compilation of Jordan just then, where it's like elite footwork, and I can finish back shoulder fade on this side, this side. I can
up and under
the pivot off of that if I don't have that.
Or reverse pivot out of it. And that's a hard footwork.
Yeah.
When you got a guy going one way and then you go this way, but you reverse back the other way.
Yeah. Shout out Elijah Arenas. He kind of had a little moment going a little viral doing exactly that.
Yeah.
Where, like even if you look at Jordan after, because like when he, like early 80s, he was like a Ferrari.
Yeah.
With Hondas.
Right.
Where his motor was just way different, more athletic. It just was what it was. But when you look at the 90s, and especially once they put in the system, like the triangle, he learned to score efficiently inside spots off of 1 to 2 dribbles.
In a spot.
Yeah.
LeBron, and I don't mean to cut your thought off.
We cooking.
We cooking right now. But look, and that's that be my argument with guys is when you watch that, he's learning how to operate and dominate in a spot. Yeah. The reason why LeBron holds a record of scoring is because they allowed him to do whatever he want when he got there. He wasn't ever put in a spot. You got to look at this.
Well, I think I look at that a little different. I would say he has a record of scoring just because of he has played more minutes than anybody ever have in the league.
And
that just happened.
I agree.
If you go inside like any time frame of any of those players,
right?
He wasn't top for like the first 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years.
Yeah.
He just lasted till 21 right now.
He lasted long.
Yeah, he just It was a long, like he just did it for a lot longer.
I agree, but then just on the skill side, that's what I be getting at, guys. Like y'all talking about it, but we seeing it still even now. That fundamentals outweigh the flash. SGA is unstoppable, but it's the same move. But he knows change of pace. If I can go from slow to fast and get to a spot, I can have what I want.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it with LeBron's peers. Like, KD is a way better scorer than him.
Oh, most definitely.
KD just hasn't been as healthy as him for the longer period of time.
Right.
Like, I don't even think it'd be like a question of who. Right. It's just the fact that KD has been hurt. But KD is fundamentally sound.
You want to know a question I asked?
Okay.
How, and I know this is a little bit sidebar, but this guys is watch the NBA. How hasn't Steph caught up with LeBron yet? All them threes he done shot in his career.
Are you talking about points?
Just points wise. Like he shoots more. Like,
but I don't think his scoring average ends up being long enough. And then you got to think LeBron and like any player that came straight out of high school had an advantage. Right. And then LeBron, he came in where like Kobe had 2 years he sat the bench, and then he had
LeBron
he was able to
run.
He hit the ground running. Yeah. So even if you look at like LeBron to KD, LeBron has 1 year on him anyway before injuries, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I think that ends up being the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Curry, he spent 3 years at Davidson.
Yeah.
And then he came into the league. And then he came, like his first year, he was kind of on and off the bench.
Right.
Playing behind Monte Ellis. Then he was injured for a while.
Right. Everything you said makes sense, but just on a funny note, I just I told you, it's like I got beat by that theory of the 3 over the 2.
Yeah.
And he shoots way more threes and makes.
But I think Curry's like
close.
Since he's to go to that point though, I think since he's become Curry.
Yeah. I
think his winning percentage is probably way higher than LeBron.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of the way to kind of like add that into it. Yeah. I would say that his winning percentage is way higher.
Yeah.
Again, maybe this is a LeBron haters podcast. I put the past the 2010s as the Curry era.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me personally.
Look, man, I'm Curry. I think, man, you kind of agreed on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But we disagree a lot. But I think on the Curry thing, man,
the Curry, the Jordan, LeBron,
yeah.
Like the fundamentals of the game.
Yeah, right.
As a viewer, we definitely there with it. Let me make sure there wasn't another NBA topic for us to
the
hit.
All-Star game. You remember that?
All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts on it? There's been some mixed reviews when it comes down to the NBA. They have changed the format of the All-Star game coming up with the new NBA All-Star. Kind of how they have it formatted. It would be 3 teams of 8. So naturally, what is it? 24 All-Stars, 12 and 12. So they've broken it up into 3 teams of 8, in which those 3 plus the winner of the sophomore rookie challenge game will compete inside, I guess, like a bracket style play of teams of 8 where, I guess like 2 teams play and then whoever wins that plays again. And then that's the winner of the All-Star game. So it becomes like more of a tournament style version of the All-Star game where you break it up into 3 teams of the All-Stars and then 1 team of the best young talent.
That sounds too much for an All-Star weekend.
Okay.
That's like, bro, like I get they trying to be
I'm innovative. On the other side. I like
you like it. You like it?
I'll explain my okay. This is my take.
Okay.
I think that we've been like 10 years of complaining about competitiveness inside the All-Star game. And I think one, they've also added a money component to it.
Yeah, I like that.
Where for the NBA All-Stars, it don't matter as much.
Right.
Them young kids
that don't get
on a 2-way contract outside the lottery.
Yeah.
Like an extra 250,000 is huge.
When I heard that with the NBA Cup, I said, okay, I like that because they got 500 and some.
And it's like some of the like player. The old like the teams that's established, they could be a little lazy, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the teams that end up winning, they be like, well, we're going to do it for the young guys that's on two ways. But now these guys actually get to get in all-star format and go at these all-stars for that 250. And I think that in itself, even if it's just that one game, I think that we're going to see something.
And I mean, that's kind of disheartening for the fan duelers because that's all y'all money that's where we losing that's going to them. I hope y'all know that. I hope y'all know that all that money you putting up for the NBA Cup, boy, I'll put some money on. You losing it, and that's going to them, man. Shout out to FanDuel and DraftKings for taking our money, man. Let me win, man. Christmas coming. I had to throw that in there.
Right. No, I dig it.
Yeah.
To me, I think that this is a way to see if I think the league's just been trying to find out how to get them to be competitive. That's what they did. The Team LeBron versus Team Curry. Like all these things is like, how can we get it competitive?
Yeah.
Where if they just would compete, we don't have to worry about none of this.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of adding the young boys in there because they thirsty.
I do like that now that you put it like that. I do. But my thing is just, like you kind of said a little bit early on with the traditional.
Yeah.
I'm just, like, let's get the votes in. Let's see who everybody like. I don't even like the captain stuff. If we're going to do the captains, like, it ain't got to be LeBron all the time.
Right.
Like, let's get a new captain. Let's see who Fox like. Right. Let's see who Tyrese Maxey like. Let's make them captains. If we're going to do that. But, I mean, since you put it like that, because when I first read it, I'm like, I don't like that, bro.
Yeah, I get, to me, anything is better than what we'll be watching. Like, I've tapped out of the All-Star game. Like, I'll try and watch, like, some dunk contest, a three-point contest or something like that.
Was that you that mentioned the King of the Court?
I think that'd be fire, too.
Yeah, if you did that,
shout out to the Mavs, I want to say.
Yeah.
Kyrie just won. He won the belt. They put the little belt up there. They play ones with the Mavs and
maybe
like that's fire too.
Yeah.
Like adding ones, but it's ones only of NBA All-Stars. And then maybe you got how many? That'd be 10,
tough. And then if you do it like if you get scored on, you get to the back of the line first of maybe three.
Oh we can king of the court it that way. You can set it up bracket. Well, I guess if you do a bracket style, it means that. But if you do it just based purely off voting, then you ain't even got to be a hierarchy to it.
And then how did OTE do it? They did it. How did they format?
That's a good question. We'll have to look into it. But I do like the concept of like adding bracket play to it.
Yeah.
Not bracket play. The ones to it. I think the ones will be fire. 3 dribbles, start on the block.
Yeah.
Or like you can start 3-point line if you want to make it more skilled and eligible for guards
or just get open, have them flash, and you better run right behind them, and then we own.
Yeah. I personally like that. Like I said, trying this year, I'm interested to see how it works because I think that them young boys might be thirsty to go. Because think about this: if y'all play if they beat both of the All-Star teams that they go against in demanding fashion, and like one or two of these young boys is going at it, you might have a new star emerge.
Yeah, right. And then who would you have on that young team? Who's on the rise?
Well, I think that for example, if the sophomores win, that is a Wemby, Chet. Who's that kid inside Indiana? Like all of the guys that had really solid years last year.
Yeah. I have to go back and look at that.
But they got a couple players out there. Yeah. If there was the win, like imagine inside like the Anthony Edwards era, if you was to get him to be able to his sophomore year or shit like if you go like the Trae Young and Luka era and get them to see what, because we know what they are now. But imagine if they was to go against Chris Paul then.
Or maybe they should do it like that though. You just said something. Maybe that having those errors,
the young versus that would be another
where you get those classes like you got the Luka versus the
The other version that I heard that I thought would be kind of fire would be the U.S. versus the world.
Yeah.
I think that would force people to compete a little bit too.
Yeah.
Just because, especially if you bring in the world, not only the NBA.
Yeah, because the world gonna go with the NBA.
Oh yeah. Like you take some of the top talent from the world, but then you also add in like some of those top Euro leagues, like those guys. I think that it starts feeling like FIBA basketball.
Yeah,
and like Team USA actually really gotta like do something.
Right. Yeah.
In essence, it's like the FIBA All-Stars versus the USA. Yeah. I think that would be like another fire look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think that might kind of round off our NBA section.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that we ain't missing it. Oh, all right. We talked about the Hornets. Potential moves. We'll start it off as that. Well, no. Let me rewind.
Well,
Hornet talk.
Okay.
Is it time to go ahead and tank for? Or I don't know if you're tanking for Flag, tank for Bailey, tank for Harper. Is it time to go ahead and pull the rug and tank for a pick?
Man, you ain't disputed all day, so we got to dispute.
Okay,
got to go to Harper, man. If you looking at me right now, Hornets, we got to go Harper. We got to get LaMelo Ball out of there.
But they doing so bad because LaMelo was hurt.
Yeah.
LaMelo been hurt for the past 3 weeks, and they ain't won a game.
Man, he came in and looked like shit. I don't know if he was still hurt, but
it's 3. He been gone 3 weeks. Man, they ain't won a game since then.
And look, and you right. And this, man, you always go back and forth with this, Q. It ain't that LaMelo Ball ain't good. Okay, guys, it ain't that. I'm not saying that. LaMelo Ball is a talent. But me again, shout out to my boy Courtside Ross, man. Me and him were talking. He was like, "Hey, I watch y'all podcast, man, and you're a QB going there." He said, "But I'm on your side this time about LaMelo Ball." And I just want to read something to the viewers. I took some snapshots for him. I came with some ammunition for Q, and then I'm just gonna leave it for Q.
Okay.
All right, we play against one of the worst teams like us in the league. We should have won by 10, if you ask me.
Which is this, the Philly game?
The Washington game. Okay. Washington game. Okay, they're terrible. Kendrick Perkins. We got a valid guy. He's an NBA champ. Is he an NBA champ?
Yeah.
He won the NBA.
With Celtics.
With the Celtics. It agrees that Wizards basketball is terrible. I will say Jordan Poole had his best behavior on because it was the Charlotte Hornets. And that's what people like to do.
Yeah.
When it's the Charlotte Hornets on that.
Sixers don't beat nobody but the Hornets. 3 of their wins is the Hornets, and they got 8. It's
come on, man. We can't get that game. So we go to it. And I'm just, look, man. This is all I'm saying. LaMelo Ball, 34 points.
Okay.
Everybody else, man, you argue about the points.
Okay.
And he's like, it's 34. What did the team do? But it's 34. Mm-hmm. But I go on to look at his shot percentage.
Okay.
He was 11 for 32 from the field.
Yeah, that's bad.
And then from the 3, not only does he lead the league in most attempt threes over Steph Curry. I was wild by that. Ross gave me that. Shout out to Ross again. The man was going back and forth. He said, "Hey, this is a fun fact. You might want to throw up." And I said, "Well, tell it to me." He said, "Yo, he's shooting more threes than the best 3-point shooter in the league." I said, "What?" He went 3.
That kid off the bench in New York is also, I think.
Oh, which one?
The white dude. Is that New York? He's leading the league in 3-point.
3-point attempts.
Yeah, but he come off the bench. I think it's New York or Indiana. I can't. Oh no, it's the Celtics. That's who it is.
Oh, you talking about Green?
No,
is it AJ Green?
No, it's the white dude that's off the bench for the
not
Celtics.
Pritchard.
Pritchard, that's who it is.
Pritchard, you out of pocket.
Yeah.
So I got to.
He getting them up. I know he's leading the league in makes. I imagine it has to be attempts as well, but I could be off.
Pritchard, you out of pocket. Look, man, when you letting that thing go, it got to go.
But the Celtics is just a 3-point team as well. That's all they do.
But LaMelo,
keep
LaMelo, 3.
Let me ask you this as you're doing it.
Okay.
Did Brad Miller play? Or Brandon Miller?
No, he was out.
Was Trey Mann playing?
He was out.
Okay.
I know where you're going with this. Don't sneak this. Don't sneak this. I know where you're going with this. And there wouldn't be an argument without you doing that. Okay. But you gotta let me shine.
You gotta lay it out. Go ahead, lay it out. You gotta
let me
lay it out.
3 for 18 on the 3.
Horrible.
Now check this out.
Was this his first game?
Yeah, first game back. Okay. It was. But look, bro, if you're going to shoot that many, come on, man. I can't bail you out. I ain't going to let Q save you on that one.
Listen, I ain't even trying to put my cape on this.
Okay, don't save him. Don't save him. Okay, let him get ran over right quick. Okay. Now, 2 guys on the Wizards team, Malcolm Brogdon, and Hornets, y'all got to stop doing this. Stop letting guys like Malcolm Brogdon be the hero. Come on, man. Every team we play is always a guy that they ain't really the guy that have 30.
Jared McCain had his coming out party.
Oh, my goodness. 30. Yeah. Look, and Jared McCain, I love him. He's a Duke guy. Shout out to Duke. But, no, that can't happen. But Malcolm Brogdon went 8 for 13 from the field. 3 from 5 from the 3-point line. I had to make notes, guys, because, we love y'all. Y'all tuning in. Me and Q go back and forth. But I had to get him on this one. He usually, try to have one up on me about LaMelo. But I got to get LaMelo this game. And Jordan Poole, the guy that tricked off $500,000 on Ice Spice, allegedly, crossed himself over last year. Hey, look, guys, look. Went 7 for 15 from the field and 5 for 10 from the 3-point line. Come on. And look, not only that, I didn't even get to the numbers. Melo had 30, 34 to be exact, off of this terrible shooting performance.
Nasty 34.
Nasty. Brogdon had 25 and Poole had 27. Not that far off from efficient shooting. LaMelo, you each day and each game, you proving my point. Situational basketball, my guy. You're going to hear me say that big S word all the time. Situational. You're terrible for it. I seen him, Q, and I tell you this all the time. Every shot don't have to be off balance.
Right.
It don't, man. And I know you work on that, my brother, but Melo, and we know you can be better. I honestly say if we got Hornets and guys watching PR, if LaMelo scores 18 points and gives us, and be a leader and start talking to these guys, hey, when I pass you the ball, man, you got to make it. If they miss it, hold Seth Curry accountable, hold Green accountable. But you need 15 assists a game, 12 to 15. You need to be a high assist guy. You don't need 35. You don't need 40. If you get 40 that game, we should win by 20, 25. But if you are 18 guy and you lead this team, I'm going to put this out there, Q. I went back and looked at OKC roster. So we was talking about just teams. Okay. Right? Okay. You got Shai Gilgeous, which until last year and now, we didn't really know of him coming out. We did and we didn't, but he's a guy. He's a staple. All right. But you got Shai Gilgeous, which is the star. Cason Wallace, who the hell is that? You got Dort. Who the hell is that?
Lou Dort.
But we know he's defensive, but still.
He's been a player for a little bit, about 3 years.
Right. But again, all right, when we read the name Jalen Williams, which came in 2, right? He's a player. And then you got Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet. Now you go and look at the Hornets.
Oh no,
it's not too far off from.
No, they got a way better team.
They do, but this is what I'm saying. But this is what I'm saying, Q. How do you have that? It's the style of basketball that they play. We're just watching LaMelo play. This is how he played, Q. Stop saving him. He looks like, rest in peace, Kojak, that used to come and kill everybody's recreation center. He was the man. He would do what he wanted. Yeah. He would do what he wanted. Everybody know. Kojak could have been in the league if we watching LaMelo. LaMelo is open gym. He's looked like the guy that smoke a blunt and go in the gym and say, I don't care about who I play. I don't know none of these dudes. And I'm shooting what I want to shoot. But if you change his style of play and make him into a leader, and you make him assist and hold his team accountable, that same OKC team the Hornets will be. That's all I'm saying. I
think if we like a piece in health away from that. Right. But because to me,
let me cook for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of things I don't disagree with that you said. I guess where I'll start my disagreement with, I would say I think OKC in comparison to the Hornets, they got a way better like top down roster, especially like they first five might be the most legit outside of the Celtics in the league.
And the Memphis look good too. You look at Memphis
top five. Yeah. Who was that? Durant, not Durant. John Morant.
Yeah. Pippen Jr.
Oh, he's in their top. Top five.
They in a rotation. Okay. I don't know if he's top five, but
what's the short arm dude that's real swole?
Smart.
No, Smart come off the bench.
No, Bane. Yeah.
They got the kid with the dreads back again, right? And Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Not Jalen Williams. What's the
Jackson Jr.
Jackson Jr. And then are they starting big?
Edie was out.
Yeah, now that's solid.
Yeah, solid.
But yeah, Harkenstein was he was a player.
No, he
inside in New York. Chet,
again, that's what Charlotte need. Charlotte need a heart sign, to be honest.
Well, Nick Richardson and Richmond, once they just now starting to get in the
Mark Williams looked good, but I guess he on injury minutes. Yeah. But like when he came in, he was athletic. But I really like Diabate.
No, I like all three of those. To me, so much of it is that I'm ready to see the Hornets once all the pieces is there. Where we haven't been able to see the good, like any version of a good rotation of like our centers.
Yeah.
I think that Bridges I think he's a good player. He's not like as explosive as he was like during like the 2021, 22 time. But I think he's still a good piece. I like Brandon Miller and I like LaMelo and I like Trey Mann off the bench, six man role.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is that we haven't seen that lineup at all this year.
We haven't seen all
in the past 3 weeks. I think that they had like a black and Asian guy getting big, Wong or something like that.
Yeah, Wong.
When I seen that, I'm like,
Wong in. Yeah.
I say, all right, this is where we at now.
Yeah. They got him on a two-way. He was playing with the G League.
We got the G Leaguers getting big minutes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's hard for me to blame where we're at right now.
Right. I think Lee trying to see what he got. I think it's his first year. So,
but I think the injury bug has derailed, because I think that if we had all of them, I think the team would look so much differently when they're playing because of LaMelo does have options, and I don't even necessarily see him as a habitual shoot first player.
Okay, I'm about to say, go ahead and say it. He don't have to be the number one. Go ahead and say it.
I don't mind if he is or if he isn't, but I think he's more flashy pass first than anything.
He's a better playmaker, Q. If we can get him to play make.
But my thing is that I need all the players to be there. So then he playing. I don't know if Bridges played that game, but he's playing without like the top 4 players.
Yeah.
And then half the other players on minute restrictions. And it's his first game back.
I don't like Nick Richards.
I don't have an opinion on him.
I don't like it. I think he remind me of Cody Zeller, man. Guys be scoring all the time. Diabate is smaller, but he showed more energy in the paint.
Who I like better, I do like Diabate better.
Yeah. Even though he's smaller, I like what he bring. He bring energy. Like I seen one play, he closed out. They dumped it down. He got there, walled up. Dude missed a shot. He got the rebound. He just everywhere. You need that.
No, I agree with it.
Yeah.
To me, what I think the Hornets need is, like, Taj is a good vet, but they need a vet on the court.
Yeah, they do. They do. I agree. I said that.
A vet that's comfortable and established, that averaged 25 in their heyday, but it's cool with 15 now.
What about Julius Randle? Do you think he would have fit? No.
Julius Randle still trying. Like he's still a bull in the China shop.
Yeah.
I think for an example would be like a DeMar,
Evan Mobley,
but he young.
Yeah, he young, but I'm talking about like that kind of.
I think that
wise, but
to
like
me, I don't know if we necessarily need, like, of course. Well, one, we can always use an Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
But if I'm just talking about could take us to the next level.
Yeah.
Like DeMar DeRozan inside if he had his mind together.
Yeah.
And he said, all right, I don't got to be 23 points a game. I could be 15, but he done won. He can make sure that they stay a little organized.
They do need a veteran, Q. I said that. They do.
Yeah, like somebody like that. I'm trying to think of like another option of it.
Like a Draymond, but with like younger, more youthful.
Like what Rudy Gay would have been. Like if he was just a little younger. Like somebody that's did it to where the kids will listen to him. But, you know what I mean? Like he can give you enough.
Got to be more than Taj Gibson. I see what I said that. I like the veteran move that they trying to make, but I agree. Now we disagree a lot on the LaMelo, but I agree with we need a veteran in the locker room.
Yeah, to me, like that's the main thing.
And I think you get a better LaMelo if you had somebody that he would be like, all right, this dude has done it before. And
my thing is that like once we can get away from the injuries, I can judge if he knows how to play winning basketball.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I'm glad you said that. That performance only tells me that you still hurt. And you was like, fuck it, I'm just shooting.
Yeah.
I don't want to get downhill. Ain't nobody else doing that. And it's like, no, bro. Because they had spurts, Q. They was pounding us. I don't know if you watched that game.
I didn't watch that game.
Yeah, they was pounding us. I was like, we finna lose by 30. But then he got the right units in. Diabate came in with energy. And then, we only lost by 10. They covered the spread, which I went on. Shout out to them. They covered that, the plus 10 on the spread. But I thought we was going to lose by 20 because it was almost by 30, halftime. But he got some good production out of the guys that he brought in. And it's man, I just feel like, and I'm not a homer. I don't want to sound like a homer saying this, but I just still feel like we better than what we are, what we're showing.
Oh, yeah. But with them, I think when we can get, what's his name? Miles Bridges.
Yeah.
Have our bigs, Brandon Miller and LaMelo. I would like to see what they can do together.
Yeah.
Before, whether we blow it up or anything like that. And again, with Trey Man, 6-man, Seth Curry coming in, spot up shot. And I think it's a good group. I'm not mad at the group of talent that we got collected.
They
just ain't really played together.
So all healthy. All healthy. Who you starting?
In general? So I guess Mark Williams had to be the center. I like, obviously, LaMelo, Miller, Bridges, and that 4.
That's more on my head scratcher. Who is our 4? Because we really legitly we don't.
Because to me, if I'm tinkering, that's the spot I play with, where I wouldn't be mad at sliding Diabate in there sometimes. I wouldn't be mad at
him. I'd like him.
I wouldn't be mad at sometimes just throwing a shooter there, whether that's Seth or whoever
or Josh Green.
Yeah. Well, you probably start Josh Green also.
Yeah.
Because he's a utility.
Yeah,
and he do a lot.
He do. He play defense,
and he can guard up and down the line, and we don't lack height.
No, we
inside
don't.
that group. It'll be between him and Diabate, depending on the matchup and the size.
Yeah.
If we're playing against a team that's really big inside the back line, I'd say Diabate. I don't know. But maybe Josh. The way the league work right now, you would say Josh Green though, because he can stretch the floor.
Yeah.
That'd be my answer. All right, so Trey, talk to me. Another week of parlay killers. Who's been killing the parlays this week?
Ooh, Anthony Davis.
Oh, damn.
Anthony Davis, LeBron James. He killing parlays.
Damn.
Let me see. Oh, man. It's been a while since we talked about that, but Cooper Kupp. Man,
Cooper Kupp been cutting up.
Man, look, Cooper Kupp had 0 receptions for 0 yards. When does that happen? And he got Puka Nacua on the other side. How does that happen? Vegas, y'all got some explaining to do. And Q be laughing at me, but I'll be on Facebook calling Vegas out. Y'all ain't playing fair, man. I'm gonna wear my sweatshirt in here. I got a new line I'm gonna start promoting. It's fuck Vegas. It got a middle finger on it. You gonna see the sweater. I'm gonna get Q one. I'm gonna have him wear one. But it's just for the guys that throw the parlays out, man. We just trying to win a little bit of money, Vegas, and y'all killing our pockets. And big shout out to Jeremiah Love last night. I put a parlay in. I felt so good about it on Prize Picks.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this look good, Q. And man, that mud broke for a 90-yard breaking touchdown. And I had him under for 83 yards, and he ran for 90 yards. Killed the parlay off rip. They ain't even wait. First quarter, killed it. I said, oh, man, shout out to Jeremiah Love. I am a Notre Dame guy. We got the L, but I wasn't wanting you to do that, my brother. I wanted you to stay under 83 yards and help me win at least $172.
At least.
And it was a free ticket. Prize Picks gave me a free ticket. I'm like, oh, I felt even better about that. I'm putting my picks in, and boom, he just broke off. So shout out to Jeremiah Love, man, for killing parlays.
Damn. All right, so we're gonna hop into a new segment this week where we asked Instagram what would y'all like for us to talk about. So we got some interesting feedback from the audience. Got a couple of them. I have well, should I say their names or should I?
Yeah, you can get a guy's shout out. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so I have a couple of them. This first one, shout out to Garth. Got a question. The initial question was to talk about basketball culture. So I asked him to kind of like define exactly what he meant to make sure that we hit on exactly what he said. It says, it's a lifestyle that families live. It's a major part of our lives now.
Correct.
We play to a coach's wishes. How does that shape a player's game? In high school, you can't really choose your coach. How do you get a coach to realize your strong points and build your weaknesses? So he ran down a couple different questions.
That's good questions, though.
Nonetheless, I guess I'll toss it to you first. I'll reread a little bit of it.
And then I'll do that.
So again, it's a lifestyle that families live. It's a major part of our lives now. We play to a coach's wishes. I guess we can start right there. I guess that's a good little part.
Right, and that goes on along with in one of the episodes when we were just talking about choosing a program, and there are options. I got another shirt. You see me start wearing it, so it's options over politics. Do your research out here, guys, and see what these coaches
Those
like.
Bars right there.
Yeah, it is, man. Look, see what the coach like. And see what his philosophy is. Ask him and see if your kid fit in that. And then a lot of it, man. We know these kids out here, man. Like it goes back to what we were saying, just part of the development. And I know that kid personally. You get sometimes that kid will get put in a certain position, and now they're playing catch up in high school. So the coach only might see him for a rebounder, a blocker. He did have good footwork. So, you're looking at that and you like, some of these coaches don't look beyond that. They're not looking at, I could get this kid a scholarship for doing X, Y, Z. Some of them just want to win or lose a game or fill a void. I got good guards. I just need a big kid to, you know what I'm saying? So, I would just say do more research and be more mindful of your position, because I got to check out a kid we all know. Shout out to Justin Whitfield. He plays at Victory Christian.
Oh, yeah, shout out Justin.
Man, he looks like a complete guard. He's in the right situation, and it's his team.
Shout out to the coach out there, too.
Yep, and he just it's about what he does. He don't play selfish, but it's his team.
When he need to push the button, he does. And I think that when you empower a guard inside that manner, it allows them to play freer, and then you get a lot less quote unquote selfishness out of them,
right? Because
now they know they're free to pick their spots. Right. So now I know I can run 3 sets, and I can go, call this screen and roll for me real quick, and shit. I can call it 2 times, and 1 time this is a drop off on reading the bottom man to see if they helped out. Then I got 1, 2, 3. I think that empowers a guard. Again, another quick shout out. This is Elijah.
Okay.
Where recently seen him, and he played. This is a guy over at Butler.
Okay.
And
Greer. Guard,
small,
small guard, feisty on defense. And
what I like what he did though. I seen him play recently, and first half he was attacking. They pretty much just running the 1-4 flat. You attack. He was getting to that like little floater, like I guess it was kind of like a mid-range jump shot-ish floater type of thing.
But he was getting to his spot.
Yeah. Second half, he actually got to them same spots and started dishing. Drop off. Seen the drop offs. And I was like, all right. He this is where like if it's a good enough guard, they'll make the actual adjustment when you're trusting in
trust them.
What they personally can do.
Say the word again, Q. Trust.
Just gotta trust them. Trust the decision.
Trust the
So I guess I'll take it a little different. Where place is again, it says lifestyles that families live. It becomes a major part to your life. I think that parents that don't have kids that are inside basketball competitively, especially when you go AAU, all the way up through high school, to me, it's almost like back in the day where like if you hooped and you had the kids that never was involved in any extracurriculars, you'd be like, what do you do with all your free time?
Right.
Because of it takes so much of like, even as a parent, your free time. Where if you have a kid that has his practices, has his trainings, has the games, pretty much your entire work schedule after you get off of work is not work schedule. Your free schedule after you get off work is based around like this activity. And it's the same thing with like most competitive sports, whether it's like soccer. Now that football has started the 7-on-7s and stuff like that, it's very similar as well, where it becomes like a year-round thing.
Yeah,
and it in itself becomes a full lifestyle for the parents. Where then you start talking about like the travel, where now it's the hotels and like what are y'all going to do when you're traveling and different things like that. To so much your kid being inside like competitive basketball, and then post, it just changes how the family in general operates. And it is like a really, really big adjustment. You talk about being a parent to a kid and now like adjusting a lot of like your lifestyle to it.
Around that basketball program. It becomes a family. And as far as just the culture, if you talk about the culture of it, Q, I think that the culture, if we have a good culture in the North Carolina area, but there's, just with anything else, there's bad with it. And the bad, I just feel like guys in this local area and surrounding areas should team up more, even though, we're going against each other and and all that. But, if we can help, like I was just telling Wayne, when Wayne was here, he had kids that helped me that couldn't help him. But then if I had a kid that got better, pass them along, because you're in a better situation. The program that you with can actually, showcase and put your kid on this platform. And I can't right now. I just feel like guys need to have more talks about that coming, dealing with the basketball culture. Stop wanting to just have it all about your program. Sit and talk with some of these guys, because I did. We'll meet up in the gym. I might play, I might get beat, I might win, but I'm asking them, hey, where y'all from? Where y'all practice at? Hey, you good? You cool with scrimmaging? Hey, I got this one kid, I see that y'all do this. I'm following y'all on Instagram. I see y'all in Under Armour. I got 2 kids that would be interested in that. And they looking at me like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it ain't about me. It's about the kid. So our culture in that aspect,
like it's okay to let them kids go. And they outgrow whatever your developmental stage is. It just speaks to that. That's why a lot of coaches, it'd be hard for them to grapple with that, because that's something that they specifically can't do.
Right. And we got to get better at that as a culture.
But you call them like the Diddy trainers and coaches.
Diddy coaches, that just want to be all in the videos and
say I did that.
I did that. And no, man, like it ain't about that. You might help the kid. I done helped a lot of kids. Q, you help kids, but the culture, right? Like right now, I'm telling you where I'm at. I'm talking to a coach in that area. Hey, I got 2 for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm putting it out there. He ain't even been to our game, and I'm like, look, I got 2, maybe 3. That you could use, and they might end up being very good players. That's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So go ahead.
No, I was going to keep trying to answer a couple more questions that he had. In high school, you really can't choose your coach. How do you get a coach to realize your strong points and build your weaknesses?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. At that high school level, you're not. A lot of those guys are stuck in their way of thinking, their philosophy, what they want to do, what they did in high school. And I'll say this too, coaches, I don't know everything about coaching, right? But one thing I do know is that you guys bring your past into the way you coach, and you damage your players like that. Instead of you played at a high level, right? And then you didn't get the opportunity, but let's work to get the kids coming up through you the opportunity. So what are some things that the coach didn't do for you that you need to do for the kids that you get now? Think about that. Don't stay stuck on one system. Don't stay stuck on, no, I was taught this way, and then your coach yelled at you for doing things this way, and that's how I'm going to coach all my point guards. No, you don't do that. You don't do that, guys. And I'm kind of disappointed in the things that I do see when I see it. I go to these games. I'm at middle school games. I'm at high school games. And I have a dog in the fight. And I'm not saying that's, him personally, but I see it and I hear things. And coaches, I just feel like, come with an open mind. See how the game is. Y'all look at what these colleges are doing. Look at what the NBA is doing, and then incorporate some new stuff, a new system around what's being, done now, because ideally high school, they're going to college next. So prepare them for that. Then from college, you're preparing them for the league if that kid is good enough. So, that's what I would say, Q.
Okay, gotcha. All right, shout out to the IG. So we have another one. This one was from Courtside Ross, I think. He said, is there a lot of bad coaches hidden behind great talent?
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right, talk to us. I throw the alley to you first.
Yeah, it is. And one way you can see it is, like, guys will get in a diamond defense all game. Like, I see it all the time. Like they'll start the game out and the whole game it's a press all game. That's not coaching. I'm just sorry, Q. When I see it and how I was taught and how I learned that, and I'm gonna be honest, it's another guy. I won't say his name because I would be giving him a shout out, but he might look at it as, I could use it but he didn't believe in pressing. He showed them how to play transition, baseline out of bounds. He scored on a lot. He just played. He would never press. That irked me about him because it was situations where I say, man, press a little bit, like, so we can get them going, and then you can fall out of it. You don't got to press the whole game, but when it's a time to do it and ruffle some feathers, and let's say you playing a team that's pressing you all game, like, come on, fight back. Don't just get punched in the mouth the whole game.
Yeah, so, and what I'll say, I've just inside like my journey is coaching and then seeing kids develop, is that it goes back to like, and maybe this ends up being like a through line for a lot of the conversations we have, is the player development versus wins. Especially at a younger level, it's easier to win a game by just pressing
the whole game.
But what you don't realize is that just because you're winning that game, your kids aren't getting better.
Right.
Because of, especially, let's just look at offensive principle side of the game. If all of your points come from pressing and that's how you're winning, you actually didn't really run much like conceptual offense for kids to actually learn the game of basketball. Especially if like you're quote unquote an elite team, you win most games by 50, 60. If you're talking about like a diamond press at that, you're not even running like a man run and jump or anything.
Right.
There's such minimal offensive concepts because everything's off of broken play, transition, quick layup, then right back into it. Then there's also the space where on the defensive side of the game, there's a part where like you do learn a lot of like run chase concepts and be able to turn, but then a lot of these same players don't translate to understanding a shell, understanding actual man principle.
Rotations, exit and out.
Yep, right. And like you see that as well, where you have kids that play really good parts inside like some really good teams.
Yeah.
But they were just zone man teams, not man teams, zone press teams, where they focus so heavily on that the other side of like the fundamentals of the game, when it comes down to offensive and defensive principles, they didn't have to learn, but they still won at such a high rate. And yeah, like just going to what you're saying, I agree that right there is like a way that you can hide bad coaching behind talent. If you just got athletes,
right? You
just got athletes that's just going to run through a wall,
put them in diamond, make layups.
That's it. And they can muck the game up so much that even really good teams, like the war of attrition, will get to a point where you can still make it a competitive game,
right?
But the thing ends up being is once you get to a higher level of the game, where that athleticism and speed don't really make a difference. Like these same teams, once you just slow them down to a half court,
I was going to say
struggle.
Or Championship Sunday, when you play against a team that's talented just like you, and you're in the semifinals, finals, then that's when you really see if that coach can coach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're like, okay, now let's see, because they know how to break the press. Now they're going to make you a half court team. Now what you going to do?
Right.
What kind of scheme you got
and
for that?
And some coaches just stay in that to a fault and just get their head knocked off because they don't know how to do anything
else. Right, because that's all they know.
Yeah. I would say, yes. One of the ways that you can tell is adjustments. That would be probably like the easier way, in my opinion, where if a coach has talent that dictates that they can win one way, right. But if an opposing coach takes away that way, do you have any versions of adjustments to be able to be made?
Right.
If a team can win in a way that you haven't necessarily prepped for, can you make the adjustments to stop them from winning that specific way?
Right.
Like simply put, I think that a lot of coaches can't do those things. That can manifest itself in a bunch of different ways in a game.
Right.
Whether that's like a team is playing a zone and right now they're in a 13 and they're trapping the corners.
Right.
Can you make the adjustment to get out of that?
Right.
Or now they're going to run a hot 2-3.
Right.
And they're trying to funnel you to this spot, and then they're running, jumping right there, and denying that first pass out. Damn, can you make the adjustment? Or now they're packed in. Right. They just in the man.
Right.
They packed in, and they said you ain't getting no inside buckets.
Yep.
We're gonna force these shooters to shoot, and they ain't made a shot all day. Can you make the adjustment? Like a lot of players can't. Not a lot of players. A lot of coaches can't do that shit. Sometimes the player be on a heater,
man,
and they don't even like take the ball out that player's hand.
Right.
Like just deny that player the ball.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where I would say adjustments ends up being a telltale sign, in my opinion.
Yeah. That the coach.
Where if you can make adjustments, and then I respect even more unconventional adjustments.
Right.
Like I talked about earlier, where like, damn, you thought to put like a smaller guard on a taller player to make it hard for them, and it was impactful.
Right.
Like you had to actually think through like a coaching strategy to get to that point.
And it looked crazy.
Yeah.
You be like, man, what's he thinking? That's a mismatch. And then I seen that happen a couple plays in the Chambers game. I ain't gonna lie. I seen that little guard get up in Taurus. And I was like, oh man, like, but again, and then I heard the guys in the outside, and I love being a fan of the game,
because
just to see and just see who talking to him.
All the talk.
And then I'm hearing guys talking to him like, man, back him down and get him to a spot. And it's like, that was the right thing, but it's like still like, again, the sideline coaching, you don't know what this player dealing with throughout what his coach is telling him and what's going on in the game. You better off just letting that happen to him, and then watching film and then telling them how to adjust. Don't tell him 100 things one time on the sideline. Like, to me, and I ain't knocking none of these guys out here, because I hear a lot of conversations in the crowd, but just man, just be mindful. These kids have a lot of pressures on them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And just allow them to make their mistakes, and then, then tell them after the game.
Right. Yeah. And I think that is even just as a parent, it's hard, but it's something that's necessary. I think that even like recently I was at a game and I had like a family member that was kind of like, they wanted, you know what I mean?
Right. They
my son to kind of like do his, but at that moment,
it's not
you too close to him and he could hear all that.
Yeah.
And that could fuck around. Like he could end up just making a mistake off of pressing.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing too much.
Yeah.
Like right now, like I'm trying to do something just to make sure I'm on this court. I still want to make sure I make an impact.
Right.
But then I'm hearing this over here.
And I want to do the right thing.
And this is also like a big enough moment right now.
Yeah.
And at least whether you fail or succeed, allow them at that moment to do that on their own.
On their own, yeah.
Especially you get into like fourth quarter-ish type thing. It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Let them make like let them be solid in whatever way they're gonna be at that moment.
Right.
Of course, I think like earlier on in the game, not even saying that you should be doing it then.
Yeah.
But it's a different little bit of a feel, if you understand. Where like you got a little bit more looseness to it, but the longer the game goes on, the tighter the game is, like you got to just let them kids just get to what they're doing.
Right. Right. It's long and hard. It's a pause. But it's a long game.
Yeah.
And it's a hard game. If I can break it up and sound any better, pause on that. But it's a mental game. That mind is beat up. And you just got to understand that they're being told many things by their coach.
I do have like small little things that I like. To me, if I'm saying like you need to play up higher on defense, better defense, I'm just do this. Like go close that gap. You like something simple like that, or like you know what I mean.
That ain't bad.
Like confidence. I'm just doing like this. Come on, confidence. Like you like make sure that you kind of like. But that be the most that I'll try and give at that moment, because of like those are just like smaller adjustments. You'll never hear me say, "Hey, shoot that motherfucker."
Yeah, you're right. Don't do don't do that. Yeah. And you won't.
Or this. I say that because like if you're on the court, all you got to do is just do little things that make it known of what you're doing, like just talking and being energetic. Like those are like some of the smaller things. Where if you're doing those, you'll be okay.
Man.
The most you see, like I'll be telling them this. I'll be like get your confidence up. Close that gap on defense. Go. That's it.
And those things that help. Now you're not reassigning him what the coach had told him. You just telling him, hey, look, man, you giving him too much space. You might see something that he don't like. He can't handle the ball like that. Get up in him and he gonna give you the ball. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, now you'll hear a lot of talk where it's
wild.
It'd be a lot. Like if you be a game, so
I shake my head, bro. And you be like, I'm like, man, come on, leave these kids alone, man.
And
like,
so I know I personally attempt to avoid that. But how did we get here? We were talking about bad coaching.
Yeah, just the bad coaching,
or hiding behind talent. I think that there is, but I'll also give this. There is a talent to coaching talented players.
Yeah, it is.
And sometimes that in itself is its own thing.
It is.
And like a really good X's and O's coach doesn't necessarily mean that you can coach good talent.
And I'll tell you this. I'm glad you said that, Q. What I'll say is this is what I've observed in my minute years of coaching, and I'm still learning and getting better. But if you're that kid that can coach talent and you're not good at X's and O's, why don't you bring a guy in that is good? A great assistant helps even more. That's what I've learned. I'm going to be honest. I feel like I'm a better assistant coach than I am a head coach because, I understand the game better now and I'm able to talk about the adjustment that we're talking about that I might not have made. You get what I'm saying? And it takes,
or you might be clouded at the moment from seeing and looking at so many different things.
Right. Because as the head coach, you're looking at the game at an entirety And the thing is, you have to be a well-seasoned guy to see everything and make adjustment. And I've seen guys that could do it. You know what I'm saying? You see him, you be like, man, he's a good coach, man. Like, but he's done it for years, and like he knows everything. But you know, and again, I like me. I vote for me as a head coach too. I like me as a head, but I think I do my best work as an assistant. And because the adjustments, like you said, that need to be made, I'll see it and I'll tell the coach, hey, look, man, this is what I think you should do. You know, this is what you should do. And hey, a lot of times it'll work, you know, if you're a student of the game.
Yeah, what you're talking about is, and I think that this exists across the board when it comes down to coaching and coaching staffs and what is typically necessary. Like, it's rare that you can get all these things inside one coach.
Right.
And again, like, those are like really good, really elite coaches. I shout out Ed. I think Ed is great at like managing talent, getting the most out of talent. Understanding like line, like he making adjustments.
He gets it.
Like he's like elite at it. There's not a lot of cooks out here though.
No, it's not. It's not.
But I think that there is a space where just building out a staff. To me, it don't even matter which one is which, if they're head coach or assistant coach. But making sure you do have an X's and O's guy. Making sure you have like a player's coach that can get the most out of the kids. And like the symmetry of both of those two things, I think works really well when building out a staff, and it's almost like necessary to have both of those, because even if you can do both, it's not always necessary that you have to do both.
No.
And
you want to know what I think guys have to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Like as men, we have egos. And you know, I think when it comes to this game, you got to put your ego to the side and kind of collab with guys. And if you know this guy is good at what he does, you collab with that, and now it's a win-win for what you and him is trying to do.
Right. And what I'll say is that I think that that's where me and Wayne, when we work together, what works like really perfectly is that we have already had like built up history playing against each other. To where there's a respect on like the idea of what we see already.
Hold up now, man. You had a good collaboration too.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But
you know, I had to throw that in. I know you're talking about now. I had to throw that.
But like me and we probably did like 3 years. So like it was like an extended period of time. But you know,
no, you know
our brother ain't here today. But no, we put foot to ass. The last 2 years. Wayne, you got like you'll be back here. I'm sure you're gonna have your rebuttal. But them last like year and a half. We started making a couple things shake. Wayne. Next episode, y'all gonna hear Wayne's rebuttal.
He probably gonna
listen. Wayne put foot to ass early on us. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I guess what I was saying is that, but with that, like having them battles, again, like we didn't got thrown out of, I didn't get thrown out. Wayne got thrown out of her games. We didn't had like the stand shaking inside gyms. And pressure moments, overtime games, game winners, XYZ, in which, like we already had that built up respect. And so a lot of times, whether it was like from practices to the games, it was always just a symmetry. Like I might be running defense and then he'll just pick up on offense, and then like we're just pinging the entire time. Same difference would be in the game. Like if I see an adjustment, cool. He got something, cool. Like it's just pinging the entire time. To where like it was a built up report. Then we'll sit back and then we'll watch the film afterward and then talk about it. And then break that down. And then, you know what I mean? It was such a fluid, like exchange of ideas where again, like Wayne, he can get them kids to run through a wall. I don't think that that's my strongest suit. But I also like, I can look, diagnose, and make adjustments. And, you know, like we can ping pong back and forth at different spots. Sometimes it don't be necessary for him to like, sometimes because I can chill, when I actually turn up, it'll get the kids' attention.
Yeah.
It ends up being its own thing. Yeah. And then there's like parts where on a staff, it takes time to kind of like earn it, especially if like you're bringing in new pieces that you don't know. Where I'd say this past year when we with the run with Aaron on a Adidas circuit, I think we hadn't had a built up rapport.
Yeah.
So like establishing that took time, but by the end of it, he was looking over at us like, what? And like it all ends up being its own like gradual step process. And I think that good coaches can like if you can't X and O's coach, I hope that like you have that guy on there. But it is a lot that comes with just coaching talent. Like shit.
Yeah.
We ain't even gotta get into not even just managing the kids, managing them parents.
That's the biggest thing, Q, is you know what I'm saying?
Around a kid a transfer mid-season.
Man, I'm telling you, man.
And that comes apart with managing talent.
And that's what I was gonna say. When you get talent, you be like, man, I want some talent. No, man. Sometimes
you be like, man, that shit is a headache.
It is, and that's why
let me develop these kids.
And there's levels. That's what you said. It's levels. So now I'm like, I'm good at where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then when they get to this, let's push them to somebody else.
Yeah.
That can handle that. And I'm fine with saying I don't want to be a part of that part of it.
Yeah.
I just want somebody else at a high school level. That's what I'm looking for now for the little guys I got. I told them, hey, look, y'all got me for a couple years. And then I'm going to find y'all somebody for the high school level, a different voice, new blood, new accountability piece, all of that, to make sure that he can do the job and do it way better than I can. You know, and ain't nothing wrong with that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Let me try and land these last one or two questions. Maybe you could speak to it. I can't specifically speak, but this is from Mr. Spears 83.
Yeah.
Rocky River's turnaround this year. Last year through the first 6 games, they were 2-4.
Yeah.
I think that I looked at his profile. I think he's talking about the girls, if I'm not specifically. But Rocky River, the boys, they almost beat North Mech, to be honest.
Oh wow.
They had a game won. A couple of things happened down the stretch. They was up by like 6.
What?
With like 2 minutes left. And a couple of things happened down the stretch, but they look good. Jordan, they used to be that. Yeah, Jordan, they used to be at with Grind. He had a big game. Red out there too.
Red, yeah.
Had a good game. They just couldn't finish it down the stretch. You could tell that
they got a nice shooter over there too. The little kid with the dreads. I can't think of his name, but he played good.
Is it Jalen?
Yeah, he can shoot.
I can't remember his last name.
Downhill, he athletic. Yeah,
he a guard.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about. As far as the girls, I know I can't say that I've watched a lot of the girls.
Yeah.
I wish Wayne was here. Wayne actually coaches inside that sector.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have any commentary to it.
No, I really can't.
Can't speak to it.
Yeah, speak on that. As far as the girls, I've seen the boys. The boys, I would say if it was directed at that, they just got more talent than they did the previous year. And that's sometimes, I know we said a lot about coaching, but sometimes too talent, it can beat a good coach. You might have and then they got a stick and then that happens.
Nah, it's a fact.
Yeah, but on the girl side, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. All right, listen, we tried.
We trying.
We tried. All right, so nonetheless, I'm gonna toss this last one over to you. I know you be out in these high school streets. You be seeing a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Who are some of your hidden gems from these past few weeks?
Well, I said one earlier, Justin Whitfield.
Okay.
At Victory Christian. He got the total package. Floor general running the team. I got to watch East Meck. That was my old stomping grounds.
Okay.
The kid over there, they actually played against Porter Ridge.
Okay.
And I want to come on here and say that I apologize about mixing up the school for Reed Johannes. Okay. He actually goes to Porter Ridge. I said Mooresville. Okay. So that's my mistake on that. But again, he's a talent. And I got to watch him again. And wasn't no fluke. He was the guy for Porter Ridge. And they actually had a shooter as well at the point guard spot, lefty. I don't know his name, but for the names that I do have, number 23 on East Mac, Jordan Buzzard, stretch post. He can shoot it. He get downhill. He had about 3 blocks back to back when I was watching him. He runs the floor. I like to see him be a little more physical. At times he look more finesse, like what people be complaining about with AD. Like, but AD can bang though, but like he just settles for that shot. Yeah. But I would have liked to see him be a little more physical. Nixon Wright, that's one of my old guys from Halo. I'm super proud. He varsity, but he's 6'4". And he's shooting the ball pretty good on the looks that he had. He made them, got downhill, got fouled, got on the free throw line, still running like an old man, work on them legs, Knicks. And then Vance Johnson, number 2 on East Mac, the point guard, remind me of like old school feel, like the Kevin Johnson. Okay. Like he runs the team. Like he ain't got no ego. He do what the coach tell him to do. If I'm a college coach, I'm going after a guy like him because he's playing. You don't see no bad attitude. Like he's upbeat the whole game. And that was one thing I liked about him. And then Porter Ridge, like I said, and then Amari Hicks for East Mac. He's a sharpshooter. He got a lot of energy, got a motor. He plays defense, but you can tell he's a guy. I think he leading in scoring over there. But yeah, he's really solid. He got cold towards the end of the game, but you could tell he's the guy. He's one of the guys that they go through. Okay. And then on Porter Ridge, number 11, they said he's a football player, cornerback. He's solid though. He caught a body in that little Thanksgiving game. He turned around and dunked on somebody. Like he offered 2. He just caught it and and I was like, I felt bad for the kid. But in that game, you could just see the athleticism. He played defense. Yeah, he's just really a utility knife. His role is just to, be Draymond out there.
But he impactful.
Oh yes, sir. But I heard he a football player, got Division I looks too. But that's my spotlight, kids. Oh, yeah. Also, I'm sitting here with you, but QJ, I got to watch him. QJ looks good. He looks like a pass-first guard that he'll play the game, how the game is supposed to be played. And Zion White, too. I got to see him. He looking like a clutch shooter. That trigger looked good. I seen him pull up deep. I was like, oh, that's how he feeling? Oh, okay. And while we on this, while you closing, shout out to DJ Lindsay too at Country Day. Yeah. A little DJ be mad nephew, you doing your thing.
I seen
freshman.
This.
Yeah, cocking back.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that was another and Cook camp right there.
I heard he averaging about 14 right now.
Man, he doing
cooking
it.
Over there.
Yes, sir. So shout out to him. My bad, I ain't mean to cut off the.
No.
But
shout out to Pops too for sure. We gotta get you on here. You gotta come talk some of that basketball dad stuff. You've been around the circuit about as long as we have. I think you was out there before me. Yeah, because y'all did the Carolina Stars in kindergarten or first grade or something.
It was around the same time though, Q. It was around the same because but when we was at United, he was getting in it. Yeah. So about the same.
Okay, all right. So again, nonetheless, from coaches to casuals, grassroots to the league, this is Open Gems. I'm Coach Q.
Coach T, who I be.
And we out.